나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 하식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌14 4강 두 번째 날 경기로 함께하겠습니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 어제 펼쳐졌던 4강 첫 번째 경기 풀세트 접전 끝에 김지성 선수가 생애 첫 결승 무대를 밟는 업적을 이뤄냈는데요. 오늘은 그 결승 상대가 정해지는 매치업이 여러분을 기다리고 있습니다. 이미 결승 무대를 한 번 밟았지만 아직 주인공이 되지 못했던 두 선수 유영진 선수와 조일장 선수의 경기가 여러분을 기다리고 있는데요. 이 두 선수 이번 시즌 어떤 발자취를 따라 이곳까지 오게 됐는지 지금부터 살펴보시죠. 자, 먼저 유영진 선수입니다. 와일드카드전에서 16강 시드 획득을 노렸지만 아쉽게도 김성대 선수에게 결승 매치업을 패배했죠. 24강에서는 F조에 배정돼 2명의 프로토스 선수를 꺾고 1위를 차지했고요. 이 16강에서는 첫 경기를 노재욱 선수에게 패배했지만 패자전에서 최우선 선수를 상대로 2대0 승리를 거둔 후에 최종전에서 복수에 성공하면서 5시즌 연속 8강 진출에 성공했습니다. 자, 이어진 8강 같은 테란끼리의 자존심 싸움이었던 매치업에서는 이재호 선수를 상대로 풀세트 끝에 승리를 따내면서 이 자리에 서 있습니다. 자, 이에 맞서는 조일장 선수입니다. 24강에서 김경모, 황병영 선수를 꺾었고요. 이어진 16강에서는 김지성 선수에게 패배를 경험했지만 변현재 선수와의 대결에서 모두 승리하면서 8강 진출에 성공했습니다. 자, 이어진 8강에서는 장윤철 선수를 만나 1, 2, 3세트 모두 완벽한 경기력을 선보이면서 다시 한번 4강 무대를 밟게 됐네요. 자, 이어서 양 선수가 결승에 진출하게 된다면 어떤 기록들이 만들어지는지 살펴보겠습니다. 먼저 유영진 선수인데요. 이 준우승을 차지했던 시즌12 이후 2시즌 만에 두 번째 결승 무대에 서게 되고요. 이영호, 이재호 선수에 이어 2회 이상 결승에 오른 테란으로 이름을 남기게 됩니다. 자, 또한 반대편 라인에 있는 또 다른 테란 김지성 선수가 있기 때문에 시즌2 이후 무려 12시즌 만에 ASL 결승전이 태태전으로 치러지게 되겠네요. 자, 이어서 조일장 선수 살펴보겠습니다. 조일장 선수는 무려 시즌4 이후 10시즌 만에 다시 결승 무대에 오르게 되고요. 김정우, 김명훈 선수와 함께 2회 이상 결승에 오른 저그가 되겠습니다. 또한 ASL 내에서 테란과 저그의 결승전은 시즌9 이후 5시즌 만에 펼쳐지게 되겠네요. 자, 두 선수가 결승에 오르게 된다면 만들어지는 기록들까지 살펴봤습니다. 16강에 올랐던 이번 시즌 선수들은 오늘 매치업 어떻게 예상하고 있는지도 만나보시죠. 자, 12명의 선수들에게 설문해본 결과 김태경, 이재호, 변현재 선수를 제외한 9명의 선수가 모두 유영진 선수의 승리를 점치고 있었습니다. 자, 그렇다면 팬 여러분들은 오늘 경기 어떻게 예상하고 계실까요? 저녁 7시까지 아프리카TV e스포츠 페이지를 통해서 승부 예측 설문한 결과를 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 52%의 시청자 여러분이 조일장 선수의 결승 진출을 예상하고 계셨습니다. 선수들은 유영진 선수의 진출을, 팬분들은 조일장 선수의 결승 진출을 예상하고 있는 만큼 오늘 4강 매치업 역시 박빙이 예상되네요. 자, 나의 레벨은 다르다 어나더 레벨 하식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌14 결승 무대를 밟은 경험은 있지만 이제 그 주인공이 되고 싶을 두 선수의 매치업이 여러분을 기다리고 있습니다. 유영진 선수와 조일장 선수 두 선수 중 어떤 선수가 김지성 선수의 결승 상대가 될지 그 경기 지금부터 만나보시죠.
ASL 14번째 시즌 한 명의 결승 진출자 결정이 되었습니다. 이제 도전자가 나오죠. 오늘 첫 번째 도전자 노력하는 선수 우승을 할 선수 만나보겠습니다. 유영진 연속 8강 이번 시즌 4강 이제 우승을 목표로 싸우고 있는 유영진 이 맞서는 또 다른 주인공 10시즌 만에 과연 결승 무대에 올라갈 수 있을지 두 번째 주인공 조일장 강력한 저그 치열한 저그 능력 있는 저그 우승에 도전하는 저그 조일장 선수입니다. ASL 결승전에 올라간 선수가 누가 될지 오늘 시작 전 2명의 선수와 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 유영진.
네.
웃어요. 네. 아니 옆에 저그가 오니까 조일장이 오니까 그냥 웃으면서 등장을 했습니다. 지난 결승전 올라갔을 때 그 표정과는 완전 다른데요.
원래 요새 인터뷰할 때 웃었어요.
오늘 웃었어요?
예.
오늘은 더 활짝 웃는 거 아니에요? 왜냐면 옆이 조일장이기 때문에.
안 웃겠습니다.
안 웃어요?
네.
솔직히 저거 올라온 거 어때요? 유영진 입장에서.
솔직히 저그전을 제가 좀 잘하니까 제일
잘하죠?
이번 시즌 처음 저그라서 좀 자신 있어요.
거기에 결승전에는 생애 처음으로 올라간 김지성. 웃음이 또 나요. 계산해보니 이번 경기만 잡으면 우승. 와.
그건 아닌데.
예.
좀 웃음이 나긴
네.
하네요.
아니 오늘 대기실에서 둘이 이야기 나눴잖아요.
네.
시즌 연속 8강 계속 올라왔고,
네.
그리고 그냥 꾸준히 하다 보니까 잘 되고,
네.
그리고 질 자신이 없고.
네.
와. 그러면은 오히려 이 조일장 선수 경기 펼치 장윤철이 올라왔을 때부터 까다롭다.
걔가 올라왔어도 할만 했어요.
할만한데
근데 떨어졌죠?
떨어졌죠.
예.
조일장은
일장형도 할만하죠?
와. 이 포스가 넘칩니다. 조일장 2시즌 만에 이렇게 지금 올라가서 결승 도전하고 있는데, 조일장은 시즌4 이후에 10시즌 만에 결승을 목표로 하고 있어요. 그리고 또 이제 같은 동료 김지성이 결승에 올라가 있어요. 김지성이 긴장 많이 되죠?
긴장이요?
예.
아니요.
아예 안 돼요? 와! 나 유영진 8강 계속 올라오고
네.
잘하는 선수 아닙니까?
잘하죠.
네.
잘하는데 뭐 왜 이런지 모르겠어요. 저도
오!
자신감이 넘쳐요.
사진이 넘쳐요?
네.
와. 그렇다면 여기서 인정하는 테란 중에 최고의 테란 유영진 인정하십니까?
네?
아니 이번에도 이제 4강까지 올라왔는데, 아니 이지호도 꺾었는데.
영진이 진짜 잘하죠. 근데 최고의 테라는 아니라고 생각해요.
와! 그러면 어느 정도?
이번에 저 이기면은 그래도 뭐 한 2번째 정도는 되지 않을까.
야!
네.
와. 그리고 조일장 선수 입장에서도 ASL 욕심이 나잖아요. 왜냐면 거기다가 또 이제 김지성 선수 올라가 있고, 테란 2명만 잡으면 우승 트로피를 들어올릴 수 있고, 조일장 선수의 개인 대회 우승자가 지금 될 수 있는 그런 상황인데, 자 준비한 대로 좀 경기 펼치면 좀 어떨 것 같습니까?
일단은 준비를 좀 잘해왔다고 생각해가지고 오늘 좀 굉장히 자신 있는 상태고, 일단은 그냥 보여드릴 일만 남은 것 같아요.
와 그래요? 아니 그렇다면 그래도 유영진 선수 여러 가지 판짜기를 하고 지금 능력 있는 테란일 텐데, 어떤 스타일의 테란이라고 생각하세요?
일단은 굉장히 공격적이고
공격적인 거.
컨트롤도 잘하고 진짜 그냥 기세로 게임하는 그런 스타일의 테란인 것 같아요.
공격 원툴. 아니 공격만 원툴. 아니 그렇다면
예.
유영진 선수가 생각하는 조일장 선수는 스타일 변화가 불쌍하지 않아요?
스타일이 좀, 그러니까 테란에 제가 있다면 저그인 일장형이 있는 것처럼 좀 약간 무난해요.
그냥 무난?
예, 좀 무난한데 전체적으로 좀 잘하는?
예.
네.
잘하긴 한데 스타일이 딱히 있는 것이 아니라 그냥 뻔하다.
조금 뻔하죠?
뻔한 저그. 아니 그렇다면 오늘 이 무대에서 유영진 선수에게 어떤 걸 보여주실 겁니까?
영진이가 저그 전에 자신감이 있다 했는데
네.
오늘 이후로 그 자신감이 없어지지 않을까 생각합니다.
아니 그럼 오늘 준비한 대로 경기 잘 풀어나간다면은 스코어상으로 오늘 4대0도 가능해요?
4대1 정도
4대1 정도.
예상하고 있습니다.
1 정도. 와 알겠습니다. 자 오늘 여기서 이제 보여준다고 이야기를 남겼습니다. 그러면
네.
유영진 선수는 오늘 이 이후에 좀 어떤 걸 조일장 선수에게 보여주실 거예요?
저번 시즌에 제가 한번 부셨거든요. 근데 오늘 자신감 넘치신 거 보니까 한 번 더 부셔야 될 것 같아요.
완전
예.
싹 다 부셔버리고
예.
결승으로.
예.
자 그럼 이 자리 빌어서 조일장 선수에게 한 말씀.
결승은 제가 올라가겠습니다.
네. 자, 그럼 이어서 조혜정 선수도 유영진 선수에게 한마디.
일단 쉽게 앉았으면 좋겠어.
야! 자, 이제 경기 시작됐습니다. 과연 누가 오늘 결승단에 결승문에 올라가야 될지 여러분의 뜨거운 박수로 4강 두 번째 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
자, 럭커와 더불어서 대방향 러쉬.
그런 10년간의 노력 끝에 유영진 선수의 생애 처음으로 결승 진출.
연결구도에서 공격적으로 상대방을 윽박지르면서 들어오는 플레이가 그게 좀 일품입니다. 이 유영진 선수가.
유영진 선수의 클러시 타이밍뿐만 아니라 단단함으로 이재호 선수를 끊어냈어요.
유일장 선수는 꾸준하게 ASL에서 실력을 보여주고 있었던 진짜 강자 중에 강자거든요.
네.
이 병력을
아!
넥서 터집니다.
압도하는 경기를 선보이는 상대형 스코어를 만들어냈습니다.
결승에서 이제 우승을 함으로써 최종 보스가 될 날을 꿈꾸고 있을 것 같습니다.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the second day of the round of 4 here of the ASL. Rush versus herO. Winner of this is going on to the finals.
Oh my God, Tastosis! Day one was one of the best of sevens that we've literally ever had. That was absolute madness. If you guys, for some reason, didn't see that and you're watching this one, just shut this off right now and go back because, Royal versus Sulky was unreal.
It was a total delight to cast. I had so much fun. It's going to be tough to top this one, but I will tell you, man, it's going to be. I think today is going to be pretty special as well. These are two extremely skilled players, very different types of players coming into this, and I think no matter how you cut it, we're going to have a great finals for the season.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about that. I got to tell you, I am super rooting for herO because I think a TVC finals is going to give you basically the best possible situation. But even if it does turn out to be Terran versus Terran, that's top 3 matchup in the game, Tastosis, along with the other 2 Terran matchups.
By the way, guys, the finals is going to be at the Sangam Coliseum. This is at the subway station, Digital Media City. About a 15 or 20-minute walk from there. It's a cool venue, a little bit tricky to find, so I would actually recommend you come a little bit earlier. The building is very nondescript.
That's the hardest studio to find for Freaka TV. All the other ones are pretty simple. But man, this is just so totally hype. We have the finals coming up, and there is, in fact, a 3rd place match that's going to be coming up as well. So Sulky is not quite done, and then whoever loses today will be against him in that.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, seeing Royal come out on top the other day, what an emotional experience that was. Yeah. I mean, you could really see the hard work had paid off, and it's kind of crazy how much this guy has improved. It's going to be interesting to see who advances here today.
It will
goes up to face him, yeah.
Yeah. Rush definitely plays a bit different from Royal. Royal has really come into his own as far as Terran versus Sir goes. Rush has very, very good mechanics in the matchup, and he does do some teched out things as well. So that'll be fun to see how he plans it out. herO, I feel like herO is just one of the smartest and best macro Zergs, but I don't feel like he plans quite as much as Sulky does sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's less likely to pull out, like, a 4-pool or, some of these crazy builds that we sometimes see Sulky do.
Yeah, no, I think he runs a little bit more on instinct. I do think he's a much more abusive Zerg, if that makes sense. I think he knows how to come into this, and whether that's really turtling hard or going for a really strong all-in. I think he's a very uncomfortable player to play against.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. And you can see that Rush, his recent Terran vs. Zerg has been a little bit more bumpy than what we saw from Royal. Okay, so that's like there's a lot of losses there. A lot of losses to Action, a lot of losses to Soma as well. But those guys are amongst the top Zergs in the world. I wouldn't lean into that too much. I promise you, Rush has amazing Terran vs. Zerg. And both of them actually, I guess their weakest matchup statistically in ASL is this matchup. But that doesn't feel accurate to me, like this 48.8% for herO. Like, a good amount of his losses are, like, for instance, to Flash. So what are you going to do with that, right? Like, he is one of the best Zerg vs. Terran players out there.
Yeah. And, you know, whenever I watch herO play, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can relate to this, but you ever watch when he played, you go, there's no way to beat this guy. You know what I'm talking about? You go, how do you stop that? I've had that with Flash. I have that with herO.
Yeah.
There's a couple of players. Snow's PvT. I'm like, yeah,
recently felt that pain. But yeah, herO is, when you watch him play, sometimes you're just like, what in the hell? Like, he is one of the smartest, one of the best Zergs. He has come up with so much for the race. Like, there's even, I've seen an interview with Flash where he speaks so highly of herO, you'd think herO is like a 3-time champion, even though he hasn't won a championship yet.
I think he's very good at making the games that he's in as easy as possible for himself, with the most opportunities, the most the highest percentages chance to basically take the game. You know, there's people that play very straightforward and try to just kind of outpace the other player. There's players that try to just go for the kill right away. I mean, I'm thinking like Partying in StarCraft 2, but then you get players like herO where it's like he's just, whatever the matchup is, whatever the map is, he's going to find the best route to get to a victory.
Yeah, he's, I mean, he's awesome. Rush is awesome. The match is going to be unbelievable. We did see there that they played in the round of 4 recently in another ASL season, and Rush was able to take that. That was 2 seasons ago when Rush went to the finals against Mini. So, like, these guys are always up at the very top of the world playing against each other quite often. So there's going to be some mind games in there, and we'll try to identify those when they come up, because they definitely both know each other very, very well. You know, when you get these people that are, like, top 8, top 4 just about every season, they are hitting each other, not just in ASL consistently, but in everything else, like the KCM.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is an important ASL season. Flash is serving his military service. So, you know, with Flash out of the picture, suddenly everybody's odds of actually taking this tournament go way up. So both of these guys, having gotten this far, you definitely don't want to drop the ball now. And I'm really looking forward to this series, man. I mean, TVZ is, as far as I'm concerned, such an interesting matchup right now, especially with the one we just casted before this. And I want to see how different this one looks going into this.
Yeah. Like, I think it is going to look a fair amount different. You know, obviously they had to... I think it's very likely, by the way, that Sulky and Rush practiced a lot, and herO and Royal practiced a lot, right? Doesn't that make sense? They're both basically prepping for the exact same maps, best of 7. And it's like, okay, well, this is basically the best guy to play against. So I do wonder about that a little bit. And if, you know, something like that is going to help out, like, if they have those similar styles.
Yeah. You can see, again, a packed studio down here. A lot of people showing up for ASL. And look, man, this has been, I think, one of our better seasons, you know, and I think it's a much more suspenseful season than some of the seasons we've had in the past, honestly, looking at it. You know, I mean, there's been some kind of surprises along the way. You know, not that these players shouldn't be in the Final Four, but a lot of upsets for some of these old school players coming in here, a lot of insane games along the way, and I feel like it's just getting better and better as we get further on here to the end. We're going to start this out with the map Odyssey to get things going, so a very different map lineup overall. We compare to the day 1 round of 4 here, and it looks like we're ready to get into this, guys. So this is Rush versus herO, a best of 7. The winner of this is going to go on and face off against Royal in the finals of the Season 14 of the ASL.
In the bottom left, we have Rush. And in the top right, we have herO. By the way, I gotta mention, right? So,
Yeah.
like, just coming in to ASL, right? So ASL started, what was it, 2017, right around remaster launch?
I believe so. Yeah, a little bit before. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's players that were already amongst the very best in the world. herO would be one of them. And then there were players that were absolutely not. And Rush and Royal would be two of those. Okay? So one thing I really want to mention about Rush, and I mean, you were mentioning how emotional it was when Royal made it to the finals before. And certainly it was. Like, he was really overwhelmed and overjoyed. And, you know, he was a very middling Terran for a very long time. And finally, he's just come with this great power and made it to his first finals. But on Rush's side of things, like, I've been watching Rush for like 5 years, and I remember he was making ladder IDs like ASL 5 champ Rush. I remember specifically this ID. And he made that ID, and he was a guy that could barely make it into ASL. And he made that ID, and he was just playing like 24 hours a day, man. He was practicing so hard, and he kept doing that. And like, for me personally, that is... I have such great respect when I see something like that, because he's wearing his heart on his sleeve. He's showing you that he has ambition. He's going after what he wants. Whereas a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't know, I just play some. So huge props to him, because now he's been to a finals. Here he is in another round of 4. And it's just, it's awesome, man, to see hard work pay off in StarCraft.
Yeah, and, you know, to be totally clear, I think most people know this, but it's worth mentioning. I mean, winning an ASL... This is the biggest accomplishment you can have in StarCraft 1.
Yes.
This is it. You are, for that period of time, definitively the best player in StarCraft.
That's right.
And so, you know, you get players like Flash or some of these other, you know, legends like Jaedong, where it's like, well, these guys have won multiples, and that's, you know, totally crazy. But yeah, I mean, so it's a big deal, and, you know, he's very, very close to touching that point where he could take the whole thing. And it's funny you mentioned that, you know, wearing his heart on his sleeve and stuff like that, because there is this thing, and this is probably more common in Foreigner StarCraft, but like people that would kind of act like they didn't practice.
Yeah.
Even though they were on every day, or act like they didn't care about it, even though they were at every tournament.
Yeah. The people who go out of their way to say that actually oftentimes care more than anyone else, and they're just protecting themselves. But yeah, it's such a common thing. But to see... You know, just the diving in head first and being like, I am literally going for this and working this hard, and it's like, here he is in another round of 4, man, just a killer. It's awesome to see, but then he has these giant roadblocks like herO in his way, where this guy has been such a high-end Zerg for so many years. He's cool as a cucumber. This is no issue for him, right? Like, he's going to play a great series here, so Rush has to deliver.
So in this game, we've got a pretty early expand with the second racks behind that for the Terran. On the Zerg side of the map, it's also a little bit of a slow start here. He's going to be going and taking that third base right away. Third base before Layer has started here. And, you know, it's both openings are very good, but it's openings where neither side can really engage with each other early on.
Yeah, this is it's interesting because it's three hatcheries at 3 different bases, and we actually talked about this a lot in that previous series, because herO and Sulky are two of the Zergs that really do things like this sometimes. But this is such a fantastic map for this, because he only has to defend the front choke. So it's basically free bases, right? Like, this is a free third base. You don't have to make Sunkens in 2 locations, which makes it so much better to do a build like this, you know, as herO. So what will Rush end up playing against this? He's actually opening with a 2 Barracks Academy Rush, and all that herO has to do is make some Sunkens, and he's going to be able to hold. So I think there has to be more to this from Rush. Like, maybe he'll get like a 5-minute, 20-second factory, something like that, to go along with it, like put pressure on and tech very quickly. Because if he tries to play standard with like a closer to a 7-minute factory, I don't know what the hell he thinks he's going to accomplish with this opener.
Yeah, I'm not sure either here. I mean, this is going to be an interesting one coming forward now. I do really like what herO's doing here. I think this makes sense. We should point out as well, this third base that he gets to get for free early on does have a third gas. I'm sorry, it gives him a third gas is what I mean to say. And, you know, I think it's going to be a pretty comfortable mid-game for the Zerg. We can see the Marines are coming out now, and so, you know, the natural response for the Zerg is to throw down the 3 sunken colonies. You know, you want to do that the moment you see them come out and not sooner because you're sacrificing a drone for each of the sunken colonies it's made. Terran will probably not stem an attack in, but instead, you know, just let these sunken colonies finish. And, you know, it can look like nothing's happening on the map, but really, you know, you're forcing the Zerg to invest in defense, and that way the Zerg can't kind of pedal ahead of you in this position. It's keeping the Zerg honest, basically.
Yeah. Now, he's going after the temples. I wondered if he was going to do something like this, but if you look at the timing of that Spire, I have a very hard time believing he's going to be able to kill this base. Right? Like, there are stacked temples here, so he has to go through multiple 5,000 hit point temples. I'm not sure the actual armor value on them. It has, like, all buildings have 1 armor, so maybe it's just 1. But, like, the mutas are just going to come out, and I feel like herO has every advantage right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking this for herO. We're kind of a ways away from the game really developing here, but, I mean, this doesn't look bad for him at all.
Like, okay, the factory was quick, by the way. So I think that this was the idea is he'll go 2 racks Academy Rush. This will put a little bit of pressure on, and it also keeps you extremely safe. Like, there's no sort of cheese that herO could have done to hurt him. And getting the quick factory. So, like, he's obviously going to run into starports really quickly. Or at least I think he is. Like, I guess he could do, like, Siege Tank plus, like, Valkyrie or Vessel. But I think he's going to go, like, the starport tech quite quickly and try to get something done, whether that's a dropship play or I'm not sure what else.
Muta's going to come down now. It looks like they could end up sniping this SCV maybe down here at the very bottom. Yeah, takes that out. But, you know, again, this is really a developing game here. There hasn't been any kind of critical moments that have steered the game in any one specific direction. But I do want to point out, I think Rush's placement of the turrets is pretty much perfect. There's not really any vulnerable locations. There's nowhere to come in here. So these mutas are not going to get a lot of value.
They certainly are not. Like, they're flying around the edges. He wants to keep them alive. He wants to keep them safe. Now, that scan just saw, okay, the Defiler Mount gets put down while the scan is still active, but it also sees the Evolution Chamber, and obviously that the Hive is already done. So that is a lot of intel right now. And, okay, there is a Hydralisk Den at that natural, so we'll see if he goes, like, heavily Lurker Defiler. But, you know, he has a quick Evolution Chamber as well, so there's definitely possibilities here of getting into Ultra reasonably quickly.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to play it here. For the 4th base that Zerg's going to have to take, it does seem like on this map there's not exactly an easy place to take. I guess maybe the bottom right base, not the one that Rush has a unit at, but the one just above that. Is that where you want to go?
Normally you'll go to the one right below, but yeah, you could take just the ramped base because it is so easy to defend with Lurker. Notice that he's going for 3 macro hatches right now, so this is very similar to what we were seeing from Sulky on Butter and on Eclipse. Well, you know, this is something that was invented on Eclipse is what I'm meaning to say here, right? Where it's like the 4th base is harder to take, so you get all these macro hatcheries. So herO's going to power up very, very strongly and then go ahead and try to take that 4th base and just hold it first try.
Yeah, you can see now Lurkers hatching out here. And this is the way that herO's developed so far. I mean, he's really going to be going for kind of a fighting Zerg army and much less of a, like, let's keep expanding and growing. He's got those 3 additional hatches in his main. And, you know, this is a way to play the game, you know. It's actually kind of a modern approach here. We didn't see this as often. It seemed like in years past, Zerg was always fixated on trying to, you know, get the 4th base, excuse me, and then, you know, maybe a 5th base and tech up to those, you know, to get as many gases as possible. But instead, having all these hatches, he's going to have a real tough fighting army. And I almost wonder if this may come down less to Zergs getting the 4th and more to Terran securing a 3rd, if that makes sense.
That's kind of an interesting question. Like, generally, if you're going SK Terran, you need to take your 3rd, and then basically as your 3rd is finishing, you need to take your 4th, or the Zerg can kind of run you dry. because when you get down to like one mining base, it's going to become very, very tough. Now look at this beautiful splits. Does get those mutas out of there very quickly. He has a bunch of Scourge in this little muta clump. Can't see them. Oh, there they are. But he is looking to snipe some vessels here. Double evolution chamber here on the way as well. And Rush going back to work on these temples. He wants to hit that third base.
Okay, Lurker's going to come up here. Nice snipe on that first one. Great Dark Swarm at the last second, keeping that Lurker alive. And, yeah, I mean, basically for now, it seems like Terran has a bit of a contained position here. You know, kind of roaming around here. And I guess, you know, we were talking about that, you know, will Terran get a third base? And if so, when? And it's so funny. For some reason, it didn't occur to me that Terran also has a free third base in the back.
Yeah,
like Zerg has, you know what I mean? But I don't know why.
Well,
I'm like, well, herO gets that for free, but like the other side of the map is different. But
honestly,
go ahead,
it is a little bit less free because the mutas can hit it and like
sure.
a Nidus or something. So it is actually a little bit hard to defend. Like he probably will end up taking it, but actually the mutas are back there right now denying, right? So this is like incredibly, incredibly annoying. If he keeps the mutas there, like, are you going to irradiate 5 times? Like,
yeah,
you know,
let me walk that statement back for just a second. I saw that third base, and I'm like, oh, he'll just take that, and this game will go on. And that, but you're right, yeah, the mutas will come down here, and it seems like instead the third base is going to be set over here to the 9 o'clock position on the map.
Tastosis, right now we see a lot of Hydras mixed in, so this looks like it's going to turn into Lurker, Hydra, Defiler, which, you know, we talked about in that previous match quite a bit. Sulky had a very good win rate with it. And it's something I've been talking about a lot in general because it's been all over the ladder for months. And I am really excited. I hope that he does this a lot. And we get to see, like, how is Rush going to want to play against this? Like, is he going to mass siege tank? Is he going to go mass dropship? How does he actually deal with a composition like this that can be so cost efficient and so hard to kill?
He's coming up now. Nice irradiate over there. Takes that Lurker out immediately. And we have herO in kind of this weird position where I don't know if these Hydras can get away. You know, Hydras without speed, you don't see them in the game for very long, but, you know, they're not fast units, especially versus stimped Marines.
Yeah, they get their speed now, and they are going to get away without really dying there. But that was like a sloppy... I don't even know what he was doing over there. He's like, yeah, 2 Lurkers and 8 slow Hydras. This is an army. Well, I don't know about that, man, but look at that. Picks off a lot of vessels immediately. You can see how annoying it can be. And again, this is this type of style that we're seeing the emergence of. It's really hard to play SK Terran against because the plagues start coming out. The Hydras gun down vessels almost instantaneously. They're very good at zoning vessels away from Defilers and Lurkers. And of course, if you plague the Marine Medic Army, it doesn't matter that Hydras have that explosive damage that doesn't do well because they're hitting Marines that have like 1 health.
Another Dark Swarm coming down here. Zerg's going to try to close it out of this position. I do feel like there's a lot of wiggle room right now here for Rush. Great plague on those Marines. As he's going to have to pull those back. That's going to deplete all the energy there onto the medics. Another irradiate comes down as well. I don't know if he's going to be able to push in here. This is a funny thing about this spot on this map, this kind of ramp that goes up and then down over to where this third base is. It seems like anybody who attacks into here always loses, but let's see how this goes. It's a tough position to break.
Well, he irradiates and hits most of the Lurkers here. He has these Sea Chinks in a great position and just kind of backs up slowly. It does look like a very solid hold here from Rush. But more Lurkers coming down. These Marines were plagued earlier, so they're still pretty low health. A Lurker actually runs up and burrows at the mineral line. I don't know if Rush actually sees that right now, but this might destroy his economy. Oh my god.
I mean, he's about to lose every SCV here. I think he's going to come out with maybe 6 or 7 SCVs, but this is a problem, man. You know, one thing to remember, too, is whatever race just has less bases on the map, when you see them get dropped, they're losing way more workers because the workers aren't distributed as much to all these different locations.
Good point. And, you know, this base does get lifted off. Very, very red. You know, Rush is trying to get these additional bases, and he's having a very hard time. This herO's playing the composition very well. He's actually up in supply right now, which is kind of insane for it happening this quickly. And I'm not sure what Rush is supposed to do at this point. Like, he has those Siege Tanks, but again, like, 1 Lurker under Dark Swarm never dies to Siege Tanks. It's just they miss every single shot and no splash gets dealt. So that's a bit of an issue. The plagues are an issue. Watch, yeah, there it is. The plague goes down on those vessels, and it's like, okay, in a couple seconds, these are going to be killed off like instantaneously by Hydra shots.
Great plague on those vessels here. Kind of cool to see that I'm sorry, I was actually going to talk about Sulky here. That herO is playing like Sulky here with, you know, the Hydras, the Lings, and the Lurkers. And this is less of the, I guess, the older style, more classical ZVT where it was, you know, Lurker, Ling, Muta here.
Well, he's making the siege tanks. He's trying to retake this base, but a Darkstorm goes down, and he burrows 3 Lurkers. So, I mean, you have to give up that spot unless you're irradiating them. You know, you're not actually connecting with anything at this point. In the meantime, losing SCVs over on the side, that burning command center still being attacked.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Terran does need to have a functional third base here, or you're going to fizzle out. And we have a big attack coming down here. Now, it's funny, these factories are on the outside like this, which is kind of cool because they can reinforce better, but they also can just be killed off because they're right out here. So this is kind of a double-edged sword here as far as building positioning goes.
I think one of your thought processes here is if they get that far, you're pretty much dead anyways. And that really is the situation here. You know, like, Rush is in terrible shape. He is only mining from his main and natural still at 16 minutes. And it's like he's not even making any headway. Like, every time he tries to retake a position, a Darkstorm comes down.
Yeah, this command center, by the way, is in the red. He needs to repair that. We do have games where occasionally pros don't realize they're actually... They need to save their burning buildings, and we'll just see them die out.
Honestly, I'm sure we're a ways off, but eventually Zergs are going to start getting a queen just to have for these situations.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's actually really strong. This happens all the time where you have, like, a very red command center that you have to fix up. Another plague goes down there. Look at this. Another Lurker over to the side to harass this economy. Rush is really dead, man. 84 supply against 132. If it was reversed, we would call it a close game still. But it's not.
And so, I mean, again, if this big attack comes down here and flattens this third base, there's just no way for the game to extend any further here. Terran was never able to get that base in the back over there. Meanwhile, it looks like we're going to have another attack come down here once more. This time, the Scourge are going to try to connect with these vessels. They're going to zig and zag, and they all manage to stay alive there.
Really good targeting there from Rush. I'm pretty sure he targeted down those last few Scourge, so it does save them. Now, that's a good position. This position he has here, this is going to be a lot harder to actually break with the, you know, the Dark Swarm and running up. And that's a lot of tanks. So as long as they're kind of hitting their shots, many things will die when they try to run towards them. And he just GG's.
GG taps out.
Not super surprised about the GG. I felt like it could have come earlier, but the fact he was standing, like, maybe he'll play it out. But herO quite dominated that game. Honestly, I don't think that Rush's opener was that good. You know, against free 3 bases, he went for 2 racks Academy Rush, which is, like, it's really good against 2-hatch. But in this type of situation where he just has to build 3 Sunkens and it doesn't do anything, yeah, it felt like herO was ahead from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think that was herO also illustrating really how to play on that map. You know, don't go crazy trying to get a 4th base right away. Really power up, be ready to actually fight the Terran head-to-head in the middle of the map. And get a 4th later on, and it did kind of end up, you know, the way that I was talking about earlier, where it really did come down to, you know, is the Terran going to be able to keep a 3rd, and if so, for how long?
Well, he wasn't able to keep it for too long, unfortunately. You know, hopefully he does better in these coming up maps. That one was tough. For the way that herO played it, I feel like herO played a pretty flawless game. Like, everything looked very good, very buttoned up, and it didn't feel like Rush's prep for the map was as good. So we'll see going into our next one on Allegro if Rush can do a bit better.
Guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Game 2 just around the corner.
Up hot for a minute.
이번 시즌 마지막 4강 진출자는 조일장 선수 다시 한번 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
근데 뭐 조일장 선수는 4강 너무 자주 가는 선수이기 때문에 엄청난 리액션은 없었던 것 같아요.
한 시즌 쉬고 4강에 왔는데 솔직히 4강으로는 만족이 안 되더라고요.
여기서 조금 생색을 내자면 또 저희 만나고 싶어 했거든요. 마지막 조추 처음 할 때 현장에 계셨잖아요.
네, 잘 부탁드린다고 했는데 또 뽑아주셔가지고 이게 사람 욕심 끝이 없다고 위에가 테란이잖아요. 그것도 안 해줬으면 어땠을까.
물에 빠지고 구해놨더니 보따리 내놓으러간다고? 조일장 선수는 또 ASL 역사에서 빼놓을 수 없는 선수이기 때문에 ASL 히스토리 짚어보도록 하겠습니다. 대국민 스타리그부터 꾸준히 ASL 함께하고 계시는데 잔잔 그 이상의 성적을 내주는 선수 이런 이미지가 좀 있어요?
3등 많이 했는데 기억에 잘 안 남더라고요.
본인의 기억에 아니면 팬분들의 기억에 안 납니다.
둘 다요. 4강 잘한 건가? 야, 이런 느낌?
유영진 선수 어제 그 진출하고 리액션 한 번만 같이 보여주셔야 될 것 같은데. 그러면 조일장 선수의 기억에 완벽하게 각인됐을 시즌에 대해서 좀 먼저 이야기를 해보면 시즌4 결승전에 또 올라갔던 시즌이잖아요. 그 누구보다 힘든 과정을 거쳐 결승에 갔어요.
맞아요. 네.
24강도 최종전, 16강도 최종전, 8강도 풀세트, 4강도 풀세트. 이렇게 힘들게 사람을 불릴 수 있나 싶을 정도로 경기가 조일장 선수를 정말 대굴대굴 굴렸다.
그때 뭐 응원와주신 팬들이 진짜 못 해먹겠다 그러더라고요. 진짜로 너무 힘들다고, 진짜로 짐 빠진다고. 저그 대 저그를 특히 많이 했어요.
저 8강에 김민철 선수 만났고
네.
4강에서 이몽규 선수 만났으니까요.
그때 진짜 잘하는 저그들이랑 진짜 오전제 하면서 저도 그때 좀 많이 늙어가지고
제일 기억에 남는 경기는 혹시 어떤 경기예요?
콩드랑 이제 마지막 경기가 좀 기억에 남더라고요. 과감하게 이제 배를 째는 빌드를 선택했는데 그거를 따라가면서 이겼던 게 제일 기억에 남아요.
그때 뭐 거의 저저전에는 뭐가 텄다.
제가 그때 당시에만 해도 저저전이 약하다는 이미지였어요. 근데 이제 3저보조 뚫고 민철이 잡고 홍규 잡고 결승 가니까 아 잘하는구나.
이렇게 힘든 과정을 거쳐서 정말 모든 비바람을 다 휘몰아쳤지만 그걸 견뎌내고 결승에 갔는데 결승 상대가 이영호 선수였어요. 이렇게 또 한 번 시련을 주나 싶으셨을 것 같아요.
그때 영호가 아마 2회 연속 우승하고 이제 세 번째 결승이었는데 네, 잘하더라고요. 그래도 한 세트 좀 멋있게 땄거든요. 제 기준에서는. 저는 그거 한 번씩 또 돌려봐요. 좀 멋있게 이겨가지고.
어떤 빌드였죠, 서로?
그냥 무난한 더블 대 이제 저는 멀티에 3회 처리하고 상대 레이트 메카닉을 상대로 폭탄 드랍으로 딱 이기는 약간 폭풍적인 느낌으로다가 제가 그런 얘기를 방송에서 한 번씩 하거든요. 저만 알더라고요.
그 다음 시즌에 준우승자 징크스가 또 조일장 선수의 손에서 좀 깨졌어요.
네.
4강까지 진출을 하면서 또 좋은 모습을 보여주셨는데 프로토스 정윤정 선수에게 4강에서 좀 패배를 하셨어요.
네. 한 세트 윤종이가 딱 준비 잘해와가지고 그 세트 딱 지니까 못 따라가겠더라고요. 그러고 바로 군대에 갔는데 그때가 좀 많이 아쉬웠던 것 같아요.
조일장 선수 하면 또 빼놓을 수 없는 게 바로 3, 4위전의 최강자. 그런 느낌이 있어요.
네.
진 적이 없어요?
3번에서 3번 다 이겼죠.
김명훈 선수한테 일단 2번 다 이겼었고.
그냥 혼자 생각을 해봤어요. 3, 4위전 3등. 한 번 진 거잖아요. 어찌 보면 준우승자랑 비슷하지 않나. 대진만 잘못 넣었어도 이건 준우승급 아닌가? 이런 생각이 들더라고요. 항상 할 때 4강에서 좀 아쉽게 졌어요. 경기력을 못 보여주고 질 때가 좀 많아가지고 이거 이대로는 안 되겠다. 3, 4위전 보여주겠다. 이 마인드로 했던 것 같아요.
그래서 그때 시즌5 때 변현재 선수를 상대로 역수입이 나왔군요.
딱 군대 가기 전 마지막 경기였잖아요. 그 경기도 진짜 많이 기억에 남아요.
돌아오고 나서의 시즌은 시즌 10이었어요. 16강에서 윤용태 선수에게 좀 패배를 하면서 탈락을 좀 빠르게 했었죠.
경험이 그동안 오랜 기간 동안 없다 보니까 뭔가 알게 모르게 긴장도 많이 하고 조급하고 약간 좀 뭔가 많이 미흡했던 것 같아요. 돌아서 생각해보면은 많이 부족했던 시즌이었던 것 같아요.
이재호 선수를 시즌 12에서 꺾고 또 4강에 진출했던 그 기억도 좀 남으실 것 같아요.
경기는 잘 기억이 안 나요. 인터뷰가 사람들이 많이 기억해 주시더라고요. 내가 질까? 이거를 그때 저도 무슨 생각으로 그런 말 했는지 모르겠는데
그리고 또 시즌 11을 돌이켜보면 그때 4강에서 장윤철 선수를
또 연철이네.
장윤철 선수에게는 정말 악몽 같은 존재가 좀 됐습니다.
사실 연습하면 윤철이한테 많이 져요. 대회 때 뭔가 그게 더 잘 안 나오는 것 같아요. 조금 긴장을 좀 하는지.
조일장 선수의 가장 좀 악몽으로 남은 시즌도 있나요, 혹시?
저번 시즌.
시즌 13, 16강이었나요?
그때 영재한테 1경기 지고 그냥 민철이한테 패자전에서 그냥 두드려 맞고 떨어졌는데 진짜 긴장을 많이 했던 것 같아요. 벌벌벌벌 하면서 게임을 했던 것 같아가지고 그때는 좀 악몽이었던 것 같아요.
자, 4강의 상대가 유영진 선수예요. 둘 다 사실 원하더라고요.
영진이한테 좀 많이 졌었는데 생각을 좀 달리 해보고 있어가지고 뭐 충분히 이기지 않을까? 이런 생각을 가지고 있어요.
시즌4 이후에 다시 한번 결승에 가신다면 기억에 남는 시즌이 되지 않을까 싶어요. 스스로 만들어 가셔야죠.
결승에 올랐던 게 2017년이었는데 기억이 안 나요. 기억이 안 나가지고 다시 또 좋은 기운 얻어서 우승까지 할 수 있도록 더 노력해봐야 될 것 같습니다. 영진아 8강 봤지? 너도 똑같이 해줄게.
기대하겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Before we go into our next game, we want to say to everybody who's been supporting us on the Patreon, thank you so much. If you haven't already, we want to push you to go to patreon.com/ASL English and sign up. It is the best way to directly support Tastosis and me and the people that are producing the English portion of the ASL in what we're doing right now. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you guys have been fantastic. And the season has been probably the best one yet. So very happy with this thus far. And I'm hoping we can continue to have some really great games in this series. Obviously, we just had the first one there, and it was a little bit one-sided, but I think herO just played the map pretty perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, herO, like we were talking about earlier, he knows how to make the game easy for himself. Like, he knows how to come in and we were talking about earlier on in that cast. Well, where does the Zerg get the fourth base up? But herO kind of plays around that, like he always plays around whatever the difficult part of the matchup or the map is. And then he just powered up, made a bunch of macro hatches in his main, and then ended up just toppling the Terran as the Terran was trying to get his third setup.
Tough one there for Rush, but we're going to go into the most vanilla map that we actually have in Allegro. So I'm not surprised that is Rush's map choice. He can play just a very standard, very straightforward macro game, and that's going to be basically the strongest thing you can do on a big open map like this.
Yeah, Allegro definitely a map that should kind of lead to some more standard play. I'm interested, by the way, with Rush here, if he has any kind of mega mapped out builds like Royal did. Because Rush does seem to be kind of your standard solid Terran here. Not as much trickery here, but I feel like whenever we cast any of herO's games, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tastosis, I never feel like herO's getting cheesed. I never feel like he deals with anybody being deceptive against him. So that would be interesting, if not in this game, in the next couple to come here.
You know, Tastosis, actually, what you say, it's kind of a good point. If you remember, he lost to Royal in the tournament when Royal was doing 10 fact or whatever, right? Like the 10-10-10 build.
Yeah.
To get the factory super quick. Like when he was getting mega cheese. Because Royal just super all into him a couple games and won instantaneously, which is kind of funny. So yeah, maybe that is more of the idea of how to play against herO, because you play these macro games and he's so comfortable.
Yeah, he knows exactly how to flow through the game safely, But again, Allegro is a map. It does lend itself to more traditional play. So let's see what happens here. It's your run-of-the-mill 4-player map where the Zerg is likely going to be taking his third base in another main.
And look at this. We're going to have an 8 racks to open up from Rush. Now, this looks like it's probably 8 racks into expansion, which is really, really strong from the bottom right, because you can actually do a tight wall in where the Marines pop out on the inside. So it's a very, very safe way to pressure your opponent and also get a pretty fast base up.
Yeah, we've got a second SCV down here. A lot of funny signs here in the audience today. I gotta say, man.
Sure what this is
I don't get the reference. I'm like, who is that? I don't know. This is some inside joke, probably.
Maybe something from their streams.
The stream culture.
Yeah. All these guys are are really nailed into the scene and streaming all the time and stuff like that.
By the way, this is kind of, I feel like this is like such an exciting time to be into games and into StarCraft and all that, because streaming has literally been the best thing that's ever happened to gaming, I think.
Yeah.
Is, you know,
100%.
Yeah, because now you can, I mean, even you and I stream. You can come by our streams, you can interact with us, ask us questions, you can go to the streams of the best players and talk to them. And, you know, the world before that, which was, you know, back, what started in 1998, 1999, was, you know, the players were sort of these untouchable celebrities, right? And you would only see them end their games on TV in Korea, or if you're like Tastosis and me, you would have to find some you know, video you could download to watch and study the games. But I think with streaming being as big as it is now, you know, you can make these communities like Tastosis. You have your community, I've got mine, and all these players. You know, for instance, I'm a big fan of Bonnet's stream. I watch him all the time and try to study him, and it's really cool to kind of have that digital aspect. And now that the pandemic's done, we can have people back in the studio coming and spectating the games. It's so cool.
It really is, and you can learn about the game if you want to play so much quicker because of it. Now, this rush going down, this is pretty scary.
Yeah, this is kind of wild. Now, this bunker is going to finish.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what herO wants to do from here. I think he's going to try to bust the bunker. So this could be a very fast game. The SCVs do a great job of doing some blocking there. And look at this, he actually drills them out. Oh my god.
Oh, I think we might see this game over.
This game's done.
Oh
Yeah,
my god, he's not going to get it in time.
All right.
Well, you know, we talked about maybe you want a cheese versus herO.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. You know, the classic Terran bunker rush succeeds, and now we're tied up 1-1. A little bit of a grin over here on Rush's face. You know.
It's so funny, yeah, the 8-Rack's just slaying him. It feels like the 8-Rack's kill rate is going like way up right now.
I feel like
a lot
we
of
saw
Zergs
this not work for a while, and now it's suddenly killing everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that's more of a pressure build than anything. For a long time, it's kind of been considered like if you do that build and you kill 2 drones, you're happy. But we're seeing a lot of Zergs that are like maybe, you know, it's the Terran Micro, the Terran Execution. Some of the Zergs are not getting the pool quite as quickly as maybe they really should. And, you know, once you commit to defending it in a certain way, you can't really back up from that too much. So, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to see Rush just instantly take the cheese game like that. Now, that makes me wonder what the rest of this series is going to be. Like, are we going to get more rushes? Does herO start doing some earlier pools? I'm really unsure.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, not much else to unpack with that one, guys. This is a pretty straightforward one. But again, a win is a win. And a frustrated herO here, you know. And again, I feel like we don't see herO cheesed that often, but it does seem like, you know, if he's not able to kind of do what he wants to do, it's just not going to be an easy game for him.
Well, hopefully we don't have too many, like, just 8-Racks kills you instantly games here tonight. But honestly, if I'm Rush, looking at those first 2 games, I'm definitely thinking about what other maps I can just do this very simple build on, right? Like, every Terran can do an 8-Racks opener like this. Yeah. I can't recall what the next map is, though. I think it's one of the crazy ones, like an Arkanoid.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so this is going to be a fun one. I don't know what exactly we're going to have here, but you know, the Arkanoid, again, it's this map that you can kind of cut open, and it you know, it starts out as an island map, but it will eventually be a ground map. We've actually had a couple good games here. As we're getting closer to the end of the season, it seems like a lot of the players have begun to wrap their heads around you know, how to approach this map and what to do. But it's going to be fun to see how these 2 players are going to open. This, by the way, this map and the game that we're going to have on it will not be representative of the other games that we're going to have in the series. So let's get into it, guys. Game 3 right now. Rush versus herO tied up 1-1. Who's going to take the lead? Let's find out.
Top left, we have Rush. Top right, we have herO. Definitely, there's been so many rushes on this map.
Yeah.
I thought that Sulky had kind of a novel approach to go one hatch Muta into bases, and it was like the Mutas were just fast enough to hold like the quickest Academy rush that can happen off one base. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. Yeah, and the thing is, there is a little bit of rock, paper, scissors though, right? Like let's say herO wants to do like quick pool and break through the rocks. If you're going command center first, you might just die, right? It's like, it gets pretty dangerous trying to hold on to everything.
Yeah, you know, it like all new maps or new metas, it seems like it started out with a lot of rushes, but as time has passed, it does seem like the player who focused more on development wins on this map. So, we saw Royal go for the double racks. That was in game 1 of that best of 7 versus Sulky. And, Sulky kind of just held it off and played the game out and stayed ahead. And eventually, we saw Royal kind of dry up and there was nothing he could really do. So let's see what happens this time around here with Rush.
Well, I kind of want to see games like we used to see. Like, Neo Arkanoid actually gave us some really fantastic games, like way back in like 2008 when it was an active map. A lot of like Mech vs. Zerg type of crazy games where there's like Hydra drops and stuff. But we haven't seen anything even approaching that in ASL. Everything's been so aggressive. But it looks like it is going to be a hatchery first here from herO. He's making it closer to that gas, which is fine. You can always just kill the Chrysalises later and put a second hatchery to help with those patches. And honestly, with the amount of drones you end up making, like, you can just oversaturate your main, and it's not that far off of having drones at your natural. I mean, it's not exactly as good, but it works.
Not being in cross spots here means we may have more of an action-packed game coming into this here. I do feel like this map is long-term probably not that good for Terran. There's this funny thing when you look closely at the map that it really is divided into 4 parts, and so you get your extra 2 bases at the start. But Terran always have a difficult time taking bases far away.
Yeah.
And so if there's no close 4th base, and there really is not a close 4th base here, I just wonder if really the big picture for the Zerg is to kind of just play a long game.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying with that. Like, the thing is, static D is much better, like, how to defend bases that are far away. Like, Nidus plus Sunkens and Spores and, like, things like a single Defiler and Lurker, like, those things are really fantastic and very hard for Terran to break through, whereas with Terran, it's like, yeah, I don't know, like, we'll put a bunker there and that's about it. It's going to be very hard to get down and actually defend something. You're going to lose it before you get there. So,
right.
You're certainly right about that, where it can be quite difficult indeed to, like, if he wanted to expand towards the bottom left, if herO were to attack that, it's gone. It's like you have to punish the Zerg in some other way, not by defending. So, yeah, it does make it tricky. I think you're right. If we had Neo Arkanoid around for a really long time, like in the pro scene, it probably would skew away from Terran winning.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. But I would be surprised if this map is even kept in the map pool.
No, probably
for the next season. I mean, basically, the idea is to always have one map that's pretty out there, so we can kind of explore the game under different settings. And I welcome this one. I mean, I think the worst version of a map that we had that was like this Sparkle, which was was not
literally the most
also,
imbalanced map we ever had.
It was imbalanced and it made bad games. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true too. What a memorable map, though. I like having something weird though.
What do you think of if they brought back a map like Neo Hall of Valhalla? Was that a bad map in your opinion? Or?
That's too old. Like, the fact that you don't have a gas at the natural, the fact that Terran can float a command center down, like these types of things, like, that becomes super Terran favored, like, unbelievably. I guess Protoss would be okay because they can go, like, Reaver and Deny and stuff, but Zerg would just never be able to win that.
But what if you had, like, a Neo Hall of Valhalla with a gas?
Like a second gas in the main?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that's that type of idea. Like, that's a lot of what Sparkle was adding extra gases in for Zerg to try to balance it, but then it made it way too good for Zerg. It's such a puzzle. It's so hard to actually get anything of balance there.
By the way, it's going to be Valkyrie tech here with Medic Marine behind that. I think this makes sense, right? I mean, I can't imagine a game where the Zerg doesn't get a Spire, you know, on this map. So I think you just kind of hard counter that blindly.
Sure. And that is what he's doing. The Spire has just finished up. He did not get to scan it, but he does have that armory, and he is making a Valkyrie, so that's going to be pretty good. We'll see if Muta Scourge comes over or just Muta, because that actually can be really dangerous if Zerg does the first pass with 2 Scourge. Like, if they think you might have gone quick starport, they'll bring 2 Scourge with the Mutas, and it's really hard to keep either your Vessel or your Valkyrie alive against that.
Turret's going to be finishing just on time. Very mapped out play here from Rush. First Valkyrie's going to be out. It's important that you keep the Valkyries accumulated. It's kind of like when Protoss is making Corsairs. Like, you don't want to lose any of the Corsairs, or you could really screw it up. It's not the same thing for the Zerg either, because the Zerg can make Mutas all at once. You know, they're not incrementing out of one building.
Yeah. It's actually something I feel like Terran players are still learning, where we see them more sloppy with the Valkyries. And it's like, no, like, literally, if you can keep your first 3 Valkyries alive, the Mutas are done.
Right. And so we're just having, you know, I think a bit of a slow game here. A quick question.
Yeah.
The Valkyrie, did they fix that at all in Remastered?
Yes.
I feel like they did. So how did they adjust this?
Yeah, so basically, for people who don't know, the Valkyrie, you could only make like a couple of them in the old Brood War. Like, there was a sprite bug because of their animation, the way it looks.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't fire. Like, you have 10 Valkyries, and they just, like, 1 might fire, and that's it. But yeah, basically, they extended how many, like, sprites or whatever can be on the screen. It's actually, when you make a custom game, there's literally an option for that extended, like, sprite thing.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny, because when I play the new kids and they host a game and they don't put that on, I'm like, no, you need to put that on. That's that's incredibly important.
Yeah, because I remember when the game came out, you know, I think I was probably in 8th grade or something like that, and trying to make a Valkyrie, and like, I remember like just a couple games I made it, I'm like, yeah, I'm never making this thing again. Like,
yeah.
This unit was terrible, but then it seems like with Remastered out, it's become a viable thing, which is good, by the way. I think it actually makes the matchup more interesting.
It changed a lot. Like, it takes us. Another thing is, in TBT at the pro level before, people would just make 40 wraiths, and the DPS would be too high because Valkyries didn't work. So, like, you literally, they would just wreck turrets even. Like, you just fly through a row of turrets, you have 40 wraiths that kill everything. But now that Valkyries are out, it changed that as well. So it's like, it was an important thing to fix in the game.
It's so funny, because, like, I don't even think this unit exists until I'm casting a game like this, because you know, I play Protoss, I never see Valkyries. Like, okay, so we have the attack coming here. Now, you got to be careful. The spread on those Valkyrie shots is very, very deadly, and can basically obliterate, you know, anything that's clumped up. So, you know, one thing that the Zerg has to be careful about, and the Terran as well, is that when you commit, you have to know you're going to win the fight, because you can just simply put die if you lose that fight early on. And we have Rush continuing to push in here now.
I think herO's just going to die, Tastosis. Like, he kept all of his Valkyries alive. He's about to have a 5th Valkyrie here. There's +1 carapace on the Muta, so that does make a big difference, but it's more about not losing them to the Scourge. If the Scourge don't connect with the Valkyries, Rush will win the game here.
Yeah, I think herO needs more Lings, but I don't know if he can get that out in time here. It's gonna be kind
I'm
of
sure
funny.
he's producing a lot right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, well, some Hydras start to pop out, but that's going to be a little bit too late. He's going for both
eggs.
the temples.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe he's going to help target the Valkyries with them or something. I don't know, but those are going to be super weak. Okay, he starts eggs.
And he's already supply blocked them, so no more lurkers can be made right now.
Okay, not enough hit there. The Valkyries are going to absolutely massacre everything.
Yeah, they do seem to be firing a little bit too much to the top, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is total domination. Again, a supply block once more after killing the whole army. Yeah, I think this is basically done. I think the Sunk's going to die. The Lurkers will finish a second later here. He's going to sidestep that and just maneuver over here, forcing the Lurkers to try to leapfrog towards him.
does end up losing more healers, and, well, the Lurkers, like, almost can kill off the rest of this bio, but there's more bio coming. More Scourge come in and hit those Valkyries as well. It looks like herO is just going to survive this, but obviously this was amazing for Rush.
Yeah, and keep in mind that, you know, there's one Lurker. I don't see more Lurkers being made right now, but there are more reinforcements coming. There they are. They're merging right up from the bottom of the screen. And he can keep scanning. He's going to kill that one Lurker. And this means he can go right to where all the drones and all the tech is in the main here.
Well, I think this is pretty much game over, man. The amount of Overlords he's killed, you know, there's so much value that was lost here for herO. He did not really have a central defense. His Lurkers were a little bit slow. His Mutas didn't end up doing much. Seems like a very good opener here from Rush. Very robust, and herO like didn't quite counter enough. It seemed like his game plan was to pick off Valkyries, and he just wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, Lurker's going to come in once more. I mean, if herO can't last through this, this game is just going to end. You're not going to be able to play with the two disjointed bases to the left and to the bottom of the screenshot here. And again, the Valkyrie is kind of hard locking the Zerg out of being able to make any kind of just to produce anything. Frankly, I mean, the supply blocks are brutal. And he can just avoid the Lurkers. You know, he's got a lot of places to try to run through. There is a Defiler mound here, so in a world where Zerg holds this, maybe he can get a Dark Swarm up, but I think we're a ways out from that.
Yeah, the Lings are going to actually clear this, so I guess he gets to keep that. He still has an okay-ish drone count, and he's burrowing more Lurkers. It is a terrible situation for herO. Yeah, look at this, like, Siege Tank's starting to come up. The Valkyrie sees where his Lurkers are too, which is a pain.
Right.
If the Valkyrie wasn't here, maybe he could try moving some Lurkers up and forcing a lot of scans out, right? Like, you could see Rush maybe running out of scans and having to wait for a vessel, like that could slow him. Because you need time for Consume to finish if you are going to have any chance in this game. Because, like, if Rush gets over there before Consume's done, he just scans, the tanks push the Lurkers back, and then he's inside the base again.
Yeah, so we've got another push coming here. I'm kind of blown away, by the way, that herO is, like, still alive in this game.
Yeah,
like,
it's
we kind of called it. I don't think we called it too soon either. It really did look like the game was going to be over, but he's still here. And, you know, who knows, maybe Rush bungles this attack and the game goes on. herO's doing the right thing, too. He's just sort of skirting back and forcing the tanks to siege, unsiege, siege, unsiege. And he's going to go for the dive.
Oh, he's just barely not going to be able to... Oh, does he hit both the tanks? Oh,
one of them hits
the
both the tanks, yeah.
Yeah, and Rush continues to fight. That secondary tank, though, if he had been, like, in range of that, there's a higher probability of holding this, right? Like,
no,
the
he might have been
tanks are
able
just killers.
Yeah, but, you know, Rush very eager to try to close this game out here. And, I mean, you know, it's really been herO hanging on by a thread. I've lost count of how many Overlords have been killed in this game, by the way. It's become insane.
It's so many. It's so many. It's more than you see in, like, Protoss vs. Zerg games where the Corsairs go wild.
Yeah, He's got more Overlord kills than Bisu here. It's crazy. Yeah. And so one Lurker is going to get under the Dark Swarm, and he's going to have to relocate the tanks immediately here, or he's going to lose them.
Yeah, I like that he actually keeps some siege to kill off the Defiler, because that's, like, the only thing keeping herO together. herO's going to GG in a second here. This is...
Yeah.
It's just too much damage. 35 supply, you're not really... Like, he's trying so hard to not just instantly lose this game. He's been dead forever, but he's still fighting. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's this one might be a heartbreaker here for herO.
Wow, man. Okay, so game 3 is going to go to Rush. Very impressive. He's got to be happy with that one. Kind of a straightforward game, too. You know, it's funny, when you have maps like that, it's hard even for the best players in the world to have an idea of, okay, when is the push going to get here? How greedy can I be? And that was a perfect example of basically, you know, herO miscalculating, you know, when the threat would arrive and how strong of a threat it would be.
Yeah. It's too bad, because I think that could have turned into a game that could have been very good for herO, but that first push was just a little bit too strong. Like, the 5 Valkyries is insane. You saw, like, if he had even picked off one additional Valkyrie, that whole battle would have looked different. And he would have held it a lot quicker. Like, we're going to re-show this battle. Look at this. He only gets one Valkyrie with the Scourge.
Yeah.
Okay? They run in, but look at how ridiculous this is. The Marine count is being like a little bit reduced, but the Mutas just can't stay alive at all. It's crazy.
Once the Valkyries win the fight, then their role is to just kill off Overlords. And, you know, keep in mind, you can't, I mean, it sounds dumb to say, you can't produce if you don't have the, you know, perfect supply to let you do that. So, you know, stifling the ability for Zerg to make is really, really a huge problem. Well done there by Rush. Guys, we're going to have a short little break, and when we come back, we're going to go into Game 4 in this best of 7. Stay tuned.
자, 세 번째 4강 진출자 유영진 선수입니다. 이렇게 스피디한 세태전 오전제를 되게 오랜만에 본 것 같아요.
아, 보시는데 좀 빨랐어요?
두 선수 모두 되게 빠르게 뭔가 경기를 끝내겠다라는 느낌을 좀 받았거든요.
경기하는 사람 입장으로 좀 만족이에요. 진짜 지던 이기던 그런 식으로만 좀 했으면 좋았을 것 같아서.
경기 전에도 약간 재호 형보다는 내가 조금 더 속도감이 있는 테란이다라는 걸 좀 강조했잖아요. 그런 거에 있어서 약간의 자부심? 이런 게 좀 있나요?
조금 있는데 근데 브레이크가 좀 없어가지고 받다가 상대 공격 타이밍을 주는 경우가 좀 많아요.
옛날 옛적 별명 중에는 또 유영사라는 별명도 있었잖아요.
맞아요. 네.
근데 이제는 정말 승부사 기질과 또 단단한 운영이 정말 밸런스가 거의 완벽하게 맞춰져 있다라고 또 중계진이 칭찬을 많이 하셨어요.
브레이크를 적당히 좀 밟으니까 좀 상대가 제 기세에 좀 못 따라오는 느낌?
유영진 선수가 시즌1하고 시즌3를 제외하고 ASL에 정말 꾸준히 또 함께 해주고 있는 선수이기 때문에 ASL 히스토리를 한번 좀 짚어보도록 하겠습니다.
네.
대국민 스타리그를 시작으로 13회나 본선에 진출하셨어요. 근데 사실은 평균적으로 시즌9 때까지는 16강, 24강.
거의 24.
이렇게 됐던 것 같아요.
맞아요.
티어 오르는 시기가 좀 늦게 찾아오지 않았나 그런 생각도 들거든요. 엄청
늦었죠. 한 번 올라가니까 뭔가 혈이 찔리는 것처럼 계속 8강은 어떻게든 가더라고요.
그 딱 기점이 시즌 10이었어요. 네, 8강에 진출을 처음으로 했어. 진짜 역사적인 순간이었어. 그때도 막 유영진 선수의 그 표정 아직도 생생히 기억나. 할만함 보여줌. 기억나시죠, 그 멘트? 그리고 나서 랜덤 선수 이영호 선수에게 저그 테라 프로토스.
뚜까 맞았죠.
그래도 그 다음 시즌을 와일드카드전을 통해서 시드를 얻고 또 시작을 합니다. 이 와일드카드전에서 조금 잘 이기는 것 같아요.
요새 느끼는 게 대회에서 이제 역배소리를 제가 되게 많이 듣거든요. 근데 그 역배소리 들은 게임을 다 이겼어요, 거의. 신기한 것 같아요.
시즌 11에 이재호 선수를 16강에서 잡아내고 8강에서 이몽규 선수를 만났죠?
네.
졌어요. 네.
그 당시에도 집에서는 잘했어요. 막 중계진 끝장전 하면은 8대1로 이겼거든요, 홍구를. 그래서 좀 자신감에 차 있었는데 우승한 사람한테 졌으니까 뭐 그때는 경험 쌓는다고 생각했죠.
경험을 확실하게 쌓았던 그때가 지나가고 시즌12 다시 한 번 또 와일드카드전을 통해서 시드를 획득하고 시작을 합니다. 근데 당시에는 또 좋은 일이 있었어요.
뭐였죠?
딸내미가 나오기 며칠 전이었잖아요.
네.
그래서 뭐 격정사다 약간 이런 느낌이 있었을 것 같아요.
8강 올라간 시점도 거의 결혼하고 올라오고 성적 계속 잘 내는 시점도 딸 생기고 나오고 이런 시점이 되는 것 같아서 좀 그런 게 있는 것 같아요.
내조의 여왕이신 것 같아요, 와이프가. 그래서 또 승리 소감에도 꼭 와이프 안 빠지는데 사실 8강 때는 까먹었죠?
했어요.
아, 했나요? 16강 때 까먹었나? 한 번 까먹었는데?
이번에 24, 8, 16 다 했어요.
그 승리 소감으로 와이프 언급을 안 하면 혹시 와이프가 조금 섭섭해할 때도 있나요?
감스트 이사장님 먼저 언급하고 나를 언급해라. 이렇게 말해가지고. 네,
위아래가 다 있다, 먼저가 있다. 역시 내조의 여왕. 시즌 12 때 대망의 첫 결승전까지. 기억나시죠? 변현재 선수와의 결승전. 돌이켜보면 좀 어떤가요?
그때는 제가 좀 어렸죠. 변현재가 생맥석스로 출발해서 치즈러치를 되게 잘 막아요. 그 죽이는 걸 저 포기했거든요. 그거를 포기하고 게임하니까 계속 져 있는 거예요. 빌드도 똑같은 것만 썼고 제 자신을 좀 돌아보면 후회한 마지막 경기가 제가 벌처 드랍을 했어요. 근데 그게 제대로 떨어지면 완전 털 수 있는 상황에서 한 단 미스하는 영사가 나왔죠. 좀 이상하게 내리고 좀 마우스도 빗나가고 뭐 그랬던 적이 있는데 그게 좀 아쉬워요. 이거 잘 털었으면 제가 봤을 때 우승했을 수도 있어요.
이번 시즌은 또 이렇게 거의 탄탄대로대로 지금 일단 4강에 안착을 했어요. 지금까지의 여정 중에서 고비였다 싶은 순간 언제였어요?
16강이죠. 항상 16강이 가장 힘들고 재욱이 형이 너무 잘했어가지고 그때 이기는 게 너무 힘들었어요.
그래도 이제는 8강도 지나고 이재호 선수를 넘고 4강으로 갑니다.
시드부터가 아니라 예선부터 해서 뭐 24강 다 뛰어넘으면서 하나씩 단계 밟으면서 올라왔는데 오프에서 게임 되게 잘 돼요.
아주 자신감에 뒷받침되는 경기력이 항상 또 따라오기 때문에 유영진 선수 또 한 번의 결승 무대도 충분히 가능하다고 생각하는 분들이 많으실 것 같아요.
준비 잘해가지고 꼭 결승 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
최상의 컨디션, 최상의 경기력 기대하겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go into Game 4 now, and I got to say, in my head at least, Tastosis, I kind of imagined that, you know, herO would slowly be taking the lead here, but here we are, man. Rush is up 2-1.
Well, the last two games, Rush did win, but he won, like, instantly with attacks, right? Like, an attack came, herO wasn't quite ready for it and died both games. You know, obviously they were very different attacks, but I think because that's the way that the games went, herO is probably not panicking at all, right? In the game where there was any actual play other than one attack, he did dominate. He did dominate. Yeah. So, you know, maybe we got to open up a little bit more carefully. Maybe we got to respect the Valkyries a little bit more, something like that. We're going to go into Vermeer. Now, this is just a big standard map. So I think for herO, like, the only thing that might be scary would be like another 8 racks, so maybe just account for that.
All right, guys, we're ready to go into Game 4 right now as this best of 7 continues on here. Rush versus herO, the winner going up to face off against Royal in the finals of Season 14 of the ASL.
In the top right there, we have Rush. And at the bottom right, we have herO. All right, so, yeah, like Vermeer is pretty standard. I think that we can see like just a nice, decent, normal macro game here. I guess what I'm waiting to see is, does herO want to go 3-hatch or 2-hatch? And if he does go 3-hatch, is there any chance he tries to put it at a third base location? This seems like a tough map to do something like that on.
Yeah, it does seem like it. You know, I like what you mentioned earlier is that, you know, Rush's wins were very prompt. They happened very quickly. And, you know, I think if herO can extend the game out, he's usually pretty comfortable. There it is, Tastosis. My God. Yeah. You called it. I get it, though. It makes sense. It's almost too obvious. It's like, well, this is working, right? Like, I only got to get 2 more of these. Let's at least give this a shot. Keep in mind that these rushes usually do not just outright kill the Zerg, which is why it's kind of shocking that that's what went down in Game 2. But it is a very difficult thing that Zergs have to master is holding rushes like this.
Yeah, there's like this very special like point where it is decided. It's because like you can't start the bunker immediately because you have like 1 Marine, but right around 3 Marines, Terran starts the bunker, and that's where Zerg has to decide what the hell they're going to do. It's like, okay, are we going to go bust this? Are we going to try sunk-ins? Like, what is it? So that's going to be the important moment here, and it feels like herO just didn't deal with it correctly the last time. So let's see. 2 SCVs headed out, and herO's going to scout this very quickly. His drone is going to the north, so this is very, very important. Goes right by this SCV. The Marine is going to run into the drone, and now he knows. It's like, okay, that's an 8-rack build.
Yeah, he sees this is coming, and I'm sure herO knows what he did wrong last time. It is an execution error, so let's see how he handles it this time around. The second Marine is just heading down now. Drones trying to get any shot off on these SCVs. Remember that the Terran units are not going to heal in this process, so any little drone hit is going to add up long term.
A lot of drones coming out. He puts some damage onto that started bunker. Okay, gets the cancel on it. This is a lot of drones. He's taking this extremely seriously. This is like 9 drones, man. Yeah, he's mining with 4 and now 5 back at home. So he really wants to stop this dead in its tracks.
This is really good angling. He completely, almost completely boxes those in. He's got to get that other Marine. Actually, it's kind of crazy how long that Marine stayed alive.
Oh! Just saves that last drone. Okay, so he killed 2 or 3 drones there.
Right.
And it was between even and good for Rush. Rush didn't lose his SCVs. 2 drones is like right around even, and then 3 drones is like a slight lead for Terran, generally with 8 racks. It's like, obviously there's a little bit more to it than that, but just as like a general rule of thumb. So that was a good hold from herO, and Rush definitely not getting anywhere near as much done. See, that's much more what it's supposed to look like rather than the very quick win that we saw from Rush on Allegro.
Yeah. I mean, that game on Allegro, it's like he just got decapitated, man. It's just like outright, he was just killed. Okay, so, going into the rest of this game, Terran is going to continue to make Marines, which is going to generate pressure, expanding behind this. I think herO is probably going to be able to navigate this game totally fine from here on out.
Yeah, everything looks okay. Like, he's got his layer started. He's got a fair amount of lings. Like, Rush is going to have to build a bunker. He didn't actually wall. It's not a great wall at that position anyway,
right.
So I'm not surprised he just skipped the wall this game. But yeah, I would say he probably wants to make a bunker here just to be safe. He's going to hold it off, of course, as long as possible. He really wants to get that academy started first.
Do Zergs ever just mass ling counterattack you in games like this?
Me? Yes, all the time.
You?
But at this pro level, I think you're less likely to see it. It's funny. It's like pros just sometimes skip strategies that sometimes work really well. But like the thing is, if you make a bunch of lings and it doesn't work,
you're done.
You're going to be really far behind because you're just missing so many drones at that point.
Oh, look at this ling. Oh, okay. He's not going to get it. I thought he might be able to slip in there and scout the main. Keep in mind these spots are not that far from each other either. So you're a quick Marine push away from forcing a couple sunken colonies, which I imagine is going to be happening shortly here.
Now, Rush is hitting the critical mass where he's not really going to be afraid anymore as long as he's near the ramp. If you're near the ramp, there's a lot of things you can do between drills and, just getting onto the ramp where you're basically not going to die. There is a bunker that gets started now, so he really did get that a lot later than I thought he might actually do, but he's completely safe. Everything has been recovered nicely for him, but I think you can say the same for herO. Like, herO's got that 3rd hatch in the main base. His layer is done. His spire about halfway. I think we just get into a pretty normal game from here.
Yeah. I think that this is going to be pretty standard. Like, if you were to come in right now, you wouldn't even know that rush had happened, so to speak. So we got the 3rd barracks coming down now. And so, now we want to wait for that layer tech to finish up here. I'm sorry, it's already finished. The spire had already started, excuse me. And this drone's going to come down here and just basically take the 3rd main. And, we're getting into, I think, a more standard game.
Yeah. And, with it getting more standard, I'm feeling pretty decent for herO, right? Like, this type of game he's very, very good at. There's a lot of play to it. Like, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, a lot of micro and macro, and that's where he again, it's a small sample size so far for these two in this series, but it doesn't look like a game that can just suddenly end. But as I say that, Rush is going into 5 racks. So he's actually looking to possibly get a very fast kill.
Yeah, this is pretty cool here. And by the way, I'm glad we're getting at least one game that's going to be kind of a classical TVZ here as far as builds go. Where it is the Zerg taking that 3rd base. I know that game 1 kind of looked like that, but the truth is that in that first game that we had, that map is so weird with Zerg getting the 3rd base for free right away that it's kind of a different set of rules.
I gotta mention, herO, he hasn't started his 3rd. He threw down 3 additional Sunkens and a Hydralisk dead very quickly. I think he's reading this game perfectly. Like, I think herO is playing a magnificent game right now. Look at this. He comes in, he's getting harassment. He's going to see that it's 5 Raxes and no factory yet. And Like, all that means is he delays his third base, he has enough Sunkens, he goes into Lurker. And then when he's got the Lurkers ready, he takes his third base. And it's like, okay, you're ahead. Like, there's nothing 5-Rex can do against that.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Nice little snipe there. By the way, you know, this is one of the unfortunate things about making your stuff down here. You can't put depots any further down without it being abused. He's probably going to have to make his depots back up top from here on out. But overall, I mean, he hasn't really done that much damage. We've got a small push coming out. And this is one of the funny dances of TVZ, is you see them kind of move out on the map, but they want to make sure that if the Zerg overcommitted to the main, they could push out and kill a base. But oftentimes it just ends up with this kind of dance, this back and forth, where the Marines are going to try to snipe one specific Muta. The Mutas are going to try to find an angle where there's one Marine kind of hanging out from the group and try to kill that one off.
This looks really good for herO because what you say is true. This is like a huge part of Mutalisk defense is threatening a counterattack. But the fact that he has 4 additional sunks, like he has 4 sunks in his natural, and he's almost to Lurker, like as soon as Lurkers are ready, he's going to dive with his Mutas at Rush. And if Rush doesn't defend that really well, he's going to be in trouble. Because, look, he just has mass bio. Look at this. He's coming. This is a huge push that he's trying. But right now we're going up to 6 Sunkens and Lurkers are being made.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to break him.
I think he's just short on the time to get in here. And I love the Evo Chamber here just to draw some shots and insta-cancels it. 6 Sunks coming down. Or does he have enough to bust in? These Lurker eggs are moments away from hatching.
Oh my god, this is so tight. The Muta's even turned around here, so definitely a little bit worried. herO backs up with that Lurker, the additional 2 Sunks, barely saving him. The Mutas come back, get 1 swipe. I tell you what, if he had actually committed with the Mutas, he would be so far ahead right now.
Yeah.
But he did turn around, so those Marines in a lot of ways did do their job. But now is that dive that just always happens after Lurkers are out. And so far, Russia's defending reasonably well against it.
Yeah, you know, you could go back to that attack that happened at the Zerg's entrance. There was a lot of very smooth, subtle things that herO did there. I love the Evo Chamber in the front to try, you know, just draw a few more shots from the Marines before they come in. I love the cancel at the last second to keep the drone there. Yes. Another object in the way. I love the Lurker shuffling back under the Overlord. This is a trick that we don't talk about that often, but, you know, it's hard to click on something that's burrowed if there's something flying over it. You can easily misclick, right?
Yeah, in fact, if it's perfectly centered, you can't click on it if it's burrowed.
Yes. It's one of the crazy things. And, you know, there's a couple examples of this, like if you put a barracks floating over a turret, you can't click on the turret. Like there's just no way to do it, and it's one of the things I love is when people figure out these kind of abusive techniques where it's like, oh, well, I guess this game is ultimately, you know, played with a mouse, right? Like if you can't target that object, then that makes it very, very strong, right? And we saw him do that back there.
I gotta plug in my Xbox controller and use auto aim, man.
That's right.
Aim assist, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. And now, like, just taking a look at this position, herO sniped the first tank, which is gigantic. If you're gonna go like tank Valk or tank Vessel here, most likely tank Vessel since Lurker's already out, you really need to hit that as sharply as you possibly can. And losing that first tank takes so much out of the punch that Rush is planning. Like, 2 tanks is so much better than 1 tank. It's not just twice as better, twice as good, right? Like, it's 1 tank is not worrisome. It takes forever to break sunken lines with 1 tank.
The Mutas are going to come back here. And I got to say, this push is pretty scary, man. With the tank here, kind of off to the side. You know, and it's kind of reminded me of a little bit of what we saw with those games with Royal. I mean, he might be able to just chop his way through into the natural base. And we could just see this as kind of the classic TVZ ender of the Terran just pushing through and ultimately killing the Zerg off.
That's certainly what he's trying to do, but I really think Consume is going to be done before he can get through the sunken line.
Yeah,
like, look, he's made 3 Sunkens that are spread a little bit, and then he's got the 2 behind, and he's got Lurkers. So you have to break all that. Again, if there was 2 tanks, it's way scarier, but the 1 is going to take a long time.
No, there's 2.
Now, the second tank, yeah, the second one comes up now, but the Defilers are already out, which means Consume is probably almost done.
And the reason why you have a set of 3 Sunks and then another set behind that is because it forces the tanks to siege and unsiege. And, you know, it's very deliberate that Blizzard made the Siege tank with this animation that's slow like that. And he has bought time. Consuma's done. Darkstorm is down. These tanks are on the run.
Oh, man. The
dude.
counter Guardian attack is going to be huge, Tasteless.
You know, it's
that
funny.
is going to be huge.
I didn't really appreciate how much space there is for the Guardians to kind of hide up here where nothing can get underneath it. And, I mean, this is going to be really tough to deal with.
That is super painful. A little bit sloppy. He does lose a Guardian to the turret. Some Marines running up, but of course they do two-shot these Marines. I mean, herO's doing so much right now. Darkstorm's going down, pushing back all of this bio. I don't know if the tanks got picked or ran away at this point either. Look at this, even a single Devourer to make sure that a quick Wraith doesn't come out to ruin the day of these Guardians.
Yeah, you know, it's actually two of them. Look at that. It's cool to see how much Guardians are being used in this season. Oh my God, the Vessel. Okay, he's going to be on the run. He should be able to get that to safety.
Well, this is such a great situation for those Guardians too. Like we were talking about before, right? Like people are starting to use Guardians against these one factory, one starport builds because you're so low on vessels. It's like you don't have what you need to really clear the Guardians efficiently. So these Guardians are causing a lot of lost mining time. Like, go get cleaned. It's not the end of the world, but it is certainly annoying, and I would say in this case worth it.
Yeah, he's going to be driving this back. And I got to say, I mean, it really feels like herO's kind of winning on so many fronts right now. Eventually, the Guardians are going to be picked off here, but I mean, how much did that slow the Terran down? That's the real story. He's still got one, so if he scoots that one up just a little bit, he can start to hit the SCVs again.
Another little run up here. The tanks did get plagued, so immediately picks those off. The two lurkers going to force back these Marines as well. herO getting ready to take that fourth base location. A second starport is up, but was used to create a Wraith to help pick off the rest of the Guardians here. So his vessel production is not that high yet.
Okay. He wants to get a Dark Swarm up by the natural. This is going to be instead an engagement right over here. The Scourge is going to get that Vessel beautifully done. Big connect here. I mean, Rush is barely making it through this game. herO's looking so strong.
Yeah, herO is like just about to win the game, honestly.
Yeah.
Look, he's already up in supply, and you can see once again, like the games where herO is not dying instantly to an attack, he does look a bit better than Rush. And, you know, I feel like that's going to continue to be the story here tonight. You know, it's a tight series so far with Rush in a lead 2-1, but I would be shocked if Rush wins this game. Like, this looks to me, like, if I was playing this game, I'd be like, yeah, there's no way. If the Zerg is as good as me, there's no way I'm going to win this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in Terran, we don't even see the semblance of a third base here on the way. I mean, Zerg has driven him so far out right now. It's been rough, man. It's funny these Devourers are up here. Did they have any function after they've tried to protect the Guardians? Is there anything you could try to do that would be annoying for the Terran?
Honestly, no.
Just, like,
there's nothing to it, really. They're
Yeah,
not
so
really
funny.
going to do much. Like you might think like, oh, I'll put them somewhere to like intercept dropships later. It's like, no, they don't even kill the dropships. Like they just. This is not what they're for. They're a support anti-air unit with a lot of health. It doesn't do much.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna chill there. I don't think he even is thinking about it. I doubt they're on a hotkey. I don't think he cares if they live or not.
He should take those and try to patrol for hidden bases, man. That's what he should do.
Yeah, that's a reasonable idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like the Devourer is like probably one of the most complex units ever made in the game.
Yeah.
And it's just not that good. You know, with its acid spores like build up to 9 or whatever, and that like reduces your armor and makes you attack slower. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's good
okay.
against some stuff sometimes, but like it's maybe the most situational unit in the whole game.
Yeah, I think you're right. That or maybe a Dark Archon or something like that.
Or I feel like the Dark Archon is way more useful. Way more useful.
Yeah,
like,
actually,
even
you're right.
The Ghost,
Dark
I
Archon's
think, is
actually
more
pretty
useful.
Yeah.
Even the Ghost has more spots for use.
So what Rush is going to do is he's going to go for dropship plays, but it's spotted.
I wonder if he saw that though. I wonder if he saw that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, he might not just be looking over that. But let's see what this does. If this drop doesn't work, I don't think there's going to be any opportunities. And you can see that herO's basically preempted this. He has Scourge littered inside of his main, and he's got Lings there. And honestly, a dozen Lings can basically make a drop not happen. I mean, they're just going to kill everything off right when it comes out.
Yeah, with Ultras out as well, the drops become a lot weaker now. It is 2-1 upgrades. The Ultras leave the base. This is, I mean, this is good potential. This is probably the best idea that Rush could come up with. But look at this. There's tons of Scourge, Lings. A Muta comes in.
Oh.
And
this is he may tap out, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No,
This is...
Dude, that's 40 supply gone for 0.
Yeah, and now he's going to try to come down here with this. And there's Defilers ready. There's Dark Swarm out. And there's just no way to recover from this.
You can see, like this slight sideways mouth of Rush right now.
Yes. He's got sideways mouth, guys.
He's got sideways mouth, man. That's, yeah, see? The little bit on his left side, it's just like, he knows he's dead. There's no coming back from this position. He's got a lot of supply, so, like, I guess he can stay, but herO is not going to be broken anywhere. There's just no way to do it.
Yeah, this is him in his death throes right now, like trying to find anything to come out here.
This is a huge spread of Marines, man, but there is so many lurkers here, so many Lings coming out as well. It's a good attempt by Rush. If there was even a few less lurkers, maybe he could break in, but that's going to be it. GG. And herO takes another one. We're tied up 2-2.
Yeah. This has really been such a cool series, man. Are we going to go to Game 7? I feel like we are, dude.
There's a very good chance. There's a very good chance. But if it ends before that, I think it's because herO wins, honestly. Like, what I am watching here, Rush is playing well, but herO honestly looks better. He just looks unbelievably strong. And if you look, like, he lost to Royal in this tournament, and he's lost 2 games to Rush, and every single one was one attack killing him instantly.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if you give him any wiggle room to do anything, it seems like he just wins.
Yeah, man. Very scary player. And again, you know, if he gets to play his game, it doesn't seem like he ever loses, man.
Yeah.
Rush, let's not forget how that started. It was an 8 racks that was held. Now, will Rush try something else to try to basically throw a wrench in herO's gears and try to stop him before he can really get started? We're going to find out soon, man.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't mind. I can't remember which map it is. Maybe we're going to go into, like, Nemesis or Butter. There's definitely, like, some different options on a few of the maps that are remaining.
I think Butter's last. I'm not sure, but I thought I saw that was last.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, you know, it is really so far been a story of one guy, if the game's long enough, he always wins. The other guy, if he can just get his attack off, he's fine. But I do feel like overall this is going better for herO, right? I mean, unless Rush can create a couple more exceptional games and change the circumstances, I just think herO's going to keep trucking forward.
It does seem that way. It really does. He's just looking almost flawless once he has some stuff. Once he has some sort of defense in place. But Rush right now, I'm sure he's kind of going over his mind, okay, what do I need to do different here? And look, he's making some very good moves too. Like, even when he got behind there, that 4 dropship thing failed spectacularly, but it was a great idea.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Because he wasn't going to be able to grind that out, and he knew it. There's like 4 bases too quickly. Too much has gone wrong for him in the game. His tank pushes didn't work, so his vessel count is low. It's like, yeah, I mean, okay, here's my last-ditch effort. Here's the Hail Mary, and oh, it doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. You know, occasionally you'll get that to work. You're like, all right, snatching a victory from the jaws of defeat. But he's got to do more than that. He's got to have a more solid game plan if he's playing into the late game.
We're going to map 5 now. Again, tied up 2-2 here. It is going to be on Nemesis, and I was wrong. Butter's actually map 6. Sorry, guys. If we do get a map 7, it's going to be on Sylvan. How embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
Why am I allowed to cast this game? Go ahead.
Nemesis is very different. So I feel like Rush could have a great plan here and maybe throw herO for a loop.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Again, it's been neck and neck right now. herO looking like such a deadly player in the late game. The question is, are we going to get that far, or can Rush stop him? Now we're going into Game 5. It's loaded up. It's this best of 7 to get to the finals. Continues on.
All right, bottom right, we have Rush. Bottom left, we have herO. So they do share that 6 o'clock base. I mean, there's a lot of funny options that can occur on this map because of those egg paths with the geysers and everything. It's definitely a map that is not fully explored yet as far as cheese or even greed builds. I think there's a lot of potential for bringing out something completely new on this map.
I agree. And I think this map, you know, we're still kind of getting our heads wrapped around it, but, you know, we did in the previous series see that barracks that was made over in that kind of free base location. Let's see if we have something like that again, assuming the herO tries to take that base right away. herO did go, you know, snatch that free base immediately in game 1. Okay.
Wow.
Just make it a little bit closer, Artosis.
Dude, BBS.
And send why make 1 when you could make 2, Artosis?
Yeah, why indeed. This is so this is like the one base all in against Zerg is 2 proxy barracks, like before a supply depot. You cut so many SCVs, you're completely all in. You must win with it. So it's a pool first for herO, Tasteless. I believe I see a pool first here. And if that, yeah, he has identified what's going on spectacularly. Like, truly, this series is Rush winning with rushes, aptly named, which is funny, though, because he is normally a macro player. But herO opening with this pool first, definitely favored here.
Okay, now notice that the barracks are spaced out. We actually saw this in GSL too. Oh my God, he almost didn't see it. That was crazy.
Now, they're made in different locations.
Yeah.
So this can really throw them off, too.
Yeah, because you're going, oh, okay, it's 1. All right, well, I can deal with that. And then, in fact, you know, that the second rain comes, and suddenly you may have miscalculated. But because it's not hatchery first, I would say this is a little bit better right now for herO, in that he can probably overcome this if he does it correctly.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you see 1 proxy Rax in the center, you automatically think that it's going to be a Vulture follow-up. But he looks really suspicious with this drone. Like, the way he's microing around, I wonder if he feels that there's a possibility it's something else. Those Marines are being hidden.
Yeah.
In fact, he's waiting so long, it feels like there's something very bizarre. Because if it's 1 8-Rax, you want to attack quickly. Now, here come those additional 2. He knows. He knows.
Every unit that's killed here is going to be important. Every Zergling, every Marine, every SCV, every drone. And what he's going to do is he's going to try to run around here and try to intercept the Marines that are going to be coming out of the barracks. He's going to make 1 creep colony right by his spawning pool and gas, which is interesting. The bunker, I believe, is actually started. It's not on camera yet, but and canceled. Excuse me. And he cancels the hatch.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
this is
going
crazy.
Well, he goes for a partial counterattack, and now he's actually gone up to the Raxes. Wow, very interesting decision-making here. But Rush has to make this work.
Oh.
Okay, the 2 Lings hitting the SCVs. He gets 1. This is going to be a forced cancel.
Yeah.
Goes after the other SCV. This is an insane game right now.
Can the bunker hit the hatchery? I don't think
quite
so.
Tell.
I think so.
It's 1 block away. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. He has 3 SCVs mining.
This looks like a herO win, Tasteless.
Yeah, I think so. Does that bunker hit the hatch?
I don't think so. I think it just is off. I think it's just off. But it hits a lot of the patches. So he lifts off the command center.
Now the depot is going to be killed, so he's going to be supply blocked. Not the most important thing, but let's see. That doesn't hit it either.
Yeah. If you had Marine range, it would hit. If you were 1 step onto the creep. This is why, like, if you're doing a bunker rush and the hatchery's finishing, you have to put the bunker down quickly because the creep kind of zones you out from it.
Now, can he hit that creep colony? Yeah. Oh, he can, but only with 2 Marines. Now, again, when it finishes, it loses 100 HP when it becomes a sunken colony.
This is
crazy. Only 1's attacking. He needs to. It's all going to come down to this sunk. Oh, but Ling speed is a good thing to have, boys and girls.
Yeah, gets in with the surround here, and he's going to pop one of the bunkers and the Marines inside of it. He's not going to get the other one. He's going to pull those back, but look, he's still mining. I don't know if Rush is mining it, where he's floating his command center into that middle area. Is he going to land it and try to make SCVs? Like, he's only got 50 minerals. And, well, if he's repairing this, he's going to run out. Yeah, he's lower than 50 now. That's it.
GG. What a game.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
man. herO.
Dude, the pool first, saving him.
And that's good instinct by herO, man.
I think right now, mentally, herO should be way ahead of Rush. If Rush can keep his mentality under control, that is something to admire. Because, like, herO just read him, I think, like a book with that pool first build against the double
He just
cross
downloaded
tracks.
him, dude. He just totally downloaded him.
Yeah, because it's becoming more and more obvious that Rush isn't going to win macro games. Yeah, like, herO outplayed him both of those, and then was like, he's going to Rush, and went pool first, and bam, here we are. herO is on match point.
This has been such a good series so far. Are we going to get to that Game 7, or is this going to end on Game 6? We're going to see soon here. Yeah, very decisive moment. You know, as much as we watched the bunkers be made down there, the real story is that the counterattack with the Lings killed all the SCVs. And while he lost one of those, yeah. So when he was on 3 SCVs, it's like you barely have enough minerals to even repair the bunker.
That Zergling Tastosis was on like 2 health or something. So he thought it was dead, and there was too much going on, and that Link killed like all the SCVs.
I think he needed to make that bunker that's on the right. It should have been at 1 square up.
Yes.
And it hits the hatchery. That was the mistake.
Yeah, like if it was up and to the left 1, it will hit the hatchery.
Yeah, and that's probably, I'm not saying he would have won there, but, you know, that's sort of pivotal.
He might
here.
have, though. He
might have, man, yeah. Well, and also, you know, I mean, it's such a crazy game. And, you know, I feel like you can't just do this again. I wonder if there's some kind of build he can do to try to punish this in the next game, assuming herO goes full first. And you can see the Speedlings really closed it out. And once he got in there, it's like, all right, well, now you don't have enough to fight a sunken colony. Now I'm going to go kill those eggs and kill that, landed command center that's somewhere else. Fantastic games, though.
Yeah, it's an exciting series. Looks really different from the last one we saw. But right now, herO looking advantaged. We are going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, set 6, and we'll see if Rush can tie it up.
실성사이다 제로.
아침은 라떼, 점심은 라떼, 저녁은 라떼, 둥글하게 달콤하게 라떼 홀리. 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 홀리.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탐스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
Welcome back, everybody. I feel like we're really starting to see the story unravel here. and unfold, where Rush does not seem to have the confidence in I guess we'd say a proper game, in a standard head-to-head match here. It does seem like, he's kind of, he's trying to steal the game away from here. He's trying to rush him. He's trying to take his watch and wallet. He's trying to pull the rug out from under him. And herO is just becoming more and more aware of it in each game. And, I think that rush, that's about as all in as you can get with Terran. And it backfired, by the way, which is very scary.
It actually is as all in as you can get.
Yeah,
it's like
literally
the most all-in rush that Terran has. So, herO shut it down. He shut it down hard. So, what is Rush going to do here on Butter? It's a 2-player map, so there definitely are options. But I think that herO is not dying to any more Marine rushes.
I think you're probably right about that one, Artosis. We are going into this next game. It's going to be on Butter. herO is 1 win away from taking this entire series and going on to the finals.
So in the bottom right, we have Rush. In top right, of course, herO.
Before we get into this game, guys, we just want to say thank you guys so much for those of you who are supporting us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/ASL English. We are no longer paid by Afrika TV to cast StarCraft 1 anymore. Instead, we're relying on the community and people like you to support us. So if you like what we're doing here and you want to help out, it is very much appreciated.
Yeah, we love you guys for saving ASL. And I tell you, honestly, this is God's honest truth. I'll cast this tournament for the rest of my life. I will do it.
Yeah.
Just as long as this thing's around, it is just so good. And the fact that everything is still evolving, we're literally seeing completely new stuff every single season. And everyone's getting better the entire time. It's absurd. This is just the best game ever made.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I remember when I first started playing, and it's like the game just kept becoming interesting and people kept getting better. And I remember thinking to myself, how long is this going to go for? You know what I mean? When you're, in 7th grade, 8th grade, the idea of going into your 40s still playing the game, and that's just such an alien concept, right? But here we are. This game is a quarter of a century old, and it's more fun than ever before. That's insane to me.
That is, it's wild, and I definitely agree with you. It's it's more accessible than it's ever been. It's, it's just this functioning, awesome game that costs almost no money, that is endless. It is the highest skill cap game that there is. It's ridiculous. It's you can just always get better in any area. The greatest player ever by far still can improve completely all the time. It's crazy.
So we've got that SCV coming up now to scout this out. And by the way, Rush has dialed it back. This is not a all-in. This is nothing crazy. And it's kind of cool to see herO kind of call the bluff, too. Hatch first into pool and gas.
That is, I think he knows that he probably scarred Rush there. Now, that's the kind of a funny thing, right? If Rush had done some sort of crazy all-in here, maybe he wins, but who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? It's a 2-player map. A drone scout could come out, the Overlord could see it, or he could go pool first. Any of those things, and you're like, oh, damn, I just threw away an ASL Finals. So some good mind gaming going on, no doubt.
So, look, I think we could probably have a pretty dramatic game over here. But again, I think with Rush, literally going with his ID in most of these games and just rushing at the start, we really need to see if he can actually hang with herO in a macro game, because otherwise he's out. It does seem like herO is pretty much cheese-proof at this point in time. But again,
he's macro-proof too. How do you beat that which cannot die?
Yes.
It seems like all positions now he's starting to win. But look, I don't want to cut into Rush's ability here, because the thing is, he actually plays a really, really strong SK Terran. He's been one of the best SK Terran players in the world. Like, I would put him generally around 3rd after, you know, Flash and Light, who are just another level with it. But, like, honestly, I've seen so many of his TVZs where he just plays Marine Medic Science Vessel superbly. So I still think that there is potential. It's just he needs to not take the damage early on. He needs to get into his vessels quickly. When I see Terrans, like, do things like go dropship quickly, and then it just gets shut down, it's like, dude, you've almost lost the game already. You know? Or if you're going for one of these siege tank pushes, it's like, okay, well, siege tank pushes, you know, they can be good, but if they, like, pick off a tank on the way, then suddenly you're in a lot of trouble, and you're going to be behind on your vessels again.
So it'll be a little bit of a slow start here. I mean, these are two players that are basically getting the building blocks set up here to have a macro game. I'm sorry, was that a Spire being made?
Yeah, Spire.
It was, okay, for a second I thought that might be a Den, which would have been a big surprise here. But no, this is going to be a very standard game here from herO. And again, I feel like you can almost tell how confident herO is in the series as this goes on, right? I mean, there just is something, too, when you're playing a series against somebody and then they start to rush you and it starts to backfire over and over.
That's certainly true. I think you get mentally really far ahead, but Rush is playing like pretty standard. Drax Academy opener here. herO is going for, like, this is like a 2-hatch timing on the Spire with the 3rd hatch in the main. So, you know, it's actually, this is considered to be kind of like a light counter to what Rush is doing here, which is this quick Academy move-out timing. Oh, that's a nice little,
funny.
Little scout.
Firebat totally missed his shot.
But that lane gets over here, and that is annoying, but he'll deal with it. Forces the 2 Sunkens, which is really all you can do against this version of the 2-hatch Muta. And now Rush just has to get his turrets up. So this is, like, what you're looking at here from both sides. This is the most standard thing. Like, if you play the ladder, this will be your build, and that'll be their build, like, 80% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is definitely, if you want to, like, learn how to play the game correctly, what they're both doing is actually very good to copy. I always like throwing that out there because people, like, want to get into this, but, like, some of the stuff you see these guys try, it's like, it really is like, don't try this at home, kids. Like, you are not going to win your games. Your opponent's going to be doing something that, you know, has no relation to what your build order was. But these build orders on both sides, this is very good standard play.
Now, the Mutas are coming out. It is a 4 barracks opener from Rush, so this is like the heavy Marine Medic play. He's going to put a lot of pressure on. The turrets are beautiful, and they're just in time as well. That's kind of nice. Good harassment to start, but yeah, again, the turrets just kind of push it back.
Sort of funny. It's these turrets are literally exactly perfectly placed, where the Mutas don't have any area that they can, like, thread that needle.
That's actually the best turret placement I've ever seen.
That's crazy. Because even when I looked at it, I thought, oh, I guess the Mutas can kind of just hold position right in the middle. Actually, no, they cannot.
He comes in once again, diving on some turrets. Now, that is a quick and excellent repair.
Whoa.
Oh, my God. Tastosis, there's almost nothing harder than getting your SCVs to stop mining and not trip over each other and repair a turret like that.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
When they start to wiggle
repair.
around on top of each other. Yeah, no, it's crazy. That was a good save. And you could see herO miscalculated there. He tried to commit onto it, and it backfired, and so he got driven out.
Yeah, if the like 3-4 SCVs didn't start repairing, he would have actually killed the turret really quickly. That was barely safe, so that was like a herO move from Rush. So here we are. Like, the game is stabilizing pretty quickly. I think that Rush is playing a really nice game right now. It looks pretty good for him, but you can see that there's a lot of Mutas ready to come in here. He's built an extra turret. The Muta's going to come in and be able to kill this off pretty quickly. They get one turret going after another, but another very high-quality repair.
Oh, man. Whoa. Okay, he barely gets that turret. Again, but eating a lot of turret shots there in the process. Meanwhile, we have the Marines just in a line moving up here to the north, and we have, I think it's going to be 5 or 6 sunken colonies being made.
Yeah, he's making sure he's not going to die, but his third base can be canceled so easily. We'll see if Rush actually figures out that it's there. Wow, he just scanned like his own like third base location, wondering if the Mutas were there ready for a counterattack or not.
Interesting use of the scan there for sure. Yeah. Comes in once more. And I mean, you could see that, you know, Rush is really fortified that position very nicely here. Now, that hatchery in the upper left, that's a naked base. I mean, there's nothing defending that. All he has to go do is move an army there, and it actually got canceled. We didn't catch it on camera here, but it is the drone now just being killed off.
And herO comes in. He actually uses more than a group of mutas here and eradicates the turrets very, very quickly. Rush's Marines will be able to push him back. Again, Rush, I think, is playing like a magnificent game. And he is going into Valkyries, but look at this. Actually, herO commits onto the Marines and reduces their count dramatically.
And, I mean, honestly, this is starting to look kind of bad for Rush. These mutas have sort of forced their way in here, and when the last turret falls, suddenly, you know, you could run amok inside this base, and I mean, that's pretty scary. He's going to get driven out once more.
It's amazing what he got done with those mutas in there, really. Like, there were so many Marines, there were so many turrets, and he still just massacres everything. But there's about to be a Valkyrie. So the Valkyrie is going to help to turn the tide quite a bit. Those mutas did take a lot of damage, so every Valkyrie volley is worth a lot right now. There's still a good amount of bio here for Rush. The group out in the center he never really lost. And still no third base for herO. This is a good game. The one thing I'm a little bit afraid of here for herO specifically is now that Valkyries are out, he doesn't have a third yet.
Yeah,
so this is going to get dangerous.
Yeah, you know, it's exciting to see the mutas do all this damage, but I think the reality is that herO has been slowed down in development.
Yeah. Yeah, like you need that third gas. Like it's getting to be pretty darn late. And look, now 2 Valks out. He's going to try to dive on one. He might get one. Yeah, I think he will. Oh my God. Tasteless.
This is crazy. herO's playing the game of his life right now. Both Valkyries are going to go back and try to repair. He does not want to get that Valkyrie count dropped down. And they do get to safety.
That is so important and so big. Like, if he had killed one Valkyrie there, this looks very, very different. But now Rush can slow it down just for a moment, repair that Valkyrie, get his Valks back in the battle. He's going to have 3 to 4. He has an add-on to go siege tanks, although we don't see that as of yet. But this is a scary army. Like, he can definitely go deny that third base.
Yeah, he's moving up now. We are going to get to the phase where lurkers are going to be, incorporated here, but I do wonder if herO should have gone for lurkers a little bit sooner. It seems like he tried to go too hard into Mutalisks now, and that's getting so directly countered here.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Arkanoid game in a way. Right?
Yeah.
Not exactly like this one. Definitely Rush is showing a lot of skill, and so is herO. But it is similar to that in the fact that the Valkyries right now are dominating. He wasn't able to pick any off yet. He's kind of repaired them, and now he's got all these mutas, and he needs to make them still count.
Yeah, he kills a hatchery. Dude, this is all that Rush has to do to win. It's actually a very simple formula to win this game right now, is just keep the Zerg on 2 bases. The Zerg will just die out. Now these lurkers are scrambling to get over here to protect this other hatchery, and herO needs to get them there because if herO loses his hatchery, he's very likely to lose this game.
Ooh, some big Valkyrie volleys there onto those mutas, taking a ton of damage. The lurkers do get up the ramp into that third base. We'll see if Rush tries to like alternate what bridges he's hitting, or ramps rather, to maybe still do some damage to this base. You can see herO's kind of moving around these lurkers a bit. Yeah, that's a good move from Rush. Now suddenly, it looks like, oh my God, that volley was insane on the lurker. So few bio left over. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the expansion remains here, but I mean, we don't even have drones mining from this just yet. herO is really getting strangled in this game. The mutas come back in here. They do start to target down these turrets, but there's still 3 turrets total here to try to chisel your way through. And the Valkyries come in here. Can you moving shot Valkyries? You can't, right?
No, they slide, though, while they attack, so if you're close to the mutas, you'll get a volley off, and then you'll still be able to catch them for a second volley.
Okay, so you can't shoot them like Wraiths or Corsairs or mutas,
no.
Right? Where you just, okay.
No, you can't, once they start attacking, you can't give them any commands till they're done, but they slide a little bit.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's a funny unit to micro. There's definitely micro tricks that we have with Valks, but like while they're shooting, there's nothing available.
Well, I mean, the tank's going to be here. Thing is, the third base is mining. There's a Nidus here. He's getting that gas, which was, very important that he starts to get. But again, this is a very big attack coming up here. And it looks like he could just slide over some of these Marines and take the Nidus out. Beautifully done. Another Nidus already being made.
This is some great aggressive play here from Rush. Amazing that he actually got up there with those Marines.
I don't like this.
No, you don't want to throw the Valks away.
No, I feel like now the Zerg has more opportunities. That being said, this hatchery's halfway to being killed off here, so maybe it kind of doesn't matter. I guess losing this hatchery is much worse than losing the Valkyries.
Yeah, but the Valkyries didn't help to kill the hatch, you know? It's like,
oh, sure. It's still a mistake, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, maybe a counterattack here, but herO has to know that there's no chance this is going to work. He's got such a small army here. All right, burrow a lurker. He has a few lings. Like a nice surround, but it doesn't really matter. There's just too much. Rush is dominating the ahead right now. Like, if herO somehow came back and won this game, it would be one of the greatest comebacks, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That you could really come up with, because he doesn't have much of anything. Like, look at this. He's throwing out 2 hatches at a time. The third base should have been up a long time ago. You know? Like, his economy is so weak compared to what it needs to be.
And you look at this now, and it's really Rush going for the jugular here. He wants to actually end this. He's going to try to come into the natural and kill that off. But there's going to be a big attack coming down here from the side. A great D-Matrix, dude, on the tank. And herO cleans this up. But if you look on the mini-map, there's already reinforcements coming here.
Dude, but you know what? If he has the 3 Valkyries still with that army, this looks completely different as well. So definitely that kind of showing you really need to keep those tech units alive when you buy them, even if the harassment isn't happening anymore. The mutas are still there. So that helped herO out a lot, and that was a great moment. To kill multiple siege tanks there, like, that was a pretty big reset on Rush's army. Yeah, he still has an army. It's still pretty scary. But it, like, looks basic, right? There's no, like, I don't see any tanks. Maybe he has a tank in there. Obviously, all of his Valkyries are dead. So, like, so much of his production has been picked off at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to see a sweep come through here. I mean, this hatchery, you probably should have canceled that. That's too bad. It's going to finish, and so that's going to be, minus 300 minerals for already a very poor Zerg right now. But I don't think that he actually realizes there's a base at the far left. Oh, no, he just scouted it. Excuse me.
Right,
so Terran just has to run and smash that.
There's at least 1 lurker there. I can't tell if there's, like, multiple stacked. There could be. But there is at least 1 lurker. A Nidus is on the way. The rest of the army is just to the south there on the boomerang for herO. So there's a possibility he can actually hold this base. Let's see.
I mean, this is almost over, man. I mean, basically, there's just nowhere to go here for herO. You can even see how sparse the minerals are at the natural. herO needs to keep this base. This base is now the most important base on the map. By the way, Terran getting the 3rd here means that Rush is ready to just continue to be producing for a long time here.
And you know what? The stacked lurkers as well as the flank does force Rush back. Rush keeping a lot of vessels alive there, still microing back and doing okay. He's still got a pretty big advantage. Look at this, up by about 50 supply. herO with just enough to keep active, right? He's sitting here on 80 supply. So a lot of that is just jumping back and forth between Niduses. He's trying to take spots on the map. Like, look at these little moves he's making. Like lings and 2 lurkers out here, seeing if they can get something done.
Yeah, another push coming up here, and just an insurmountable amount of Marines here. The lings are going to come forward, but there's just pretty much, I think, no way to stop this. He is going to get... Okay, he got consumed, so hold on. Maybe I spoke too soon. Because he can pop out of the Nidus and just get 1 Dark Swarm down. And, dude, with that 3rd base staying up, I think we're going to be in this game for a while longer, Tastosis.
Yeah, we might be. Like, if he uses his defilers well, you can really live just about forever. We have about 4 minutes before we start running out of gases for herO, so that's basically the amount of time until, like he needs more gas expansions by then.
Oh, he missed the dropship. The dropship went right by the Scourge. Oh, he's going to come in. He needs to kill that Nidus as fast as possible. If the Defilers can pop through there, but maybe the dropship's going to be enough of a distraction. And he gets it out. Does he get it out? He does. He can start Swarm out, but I think there's, what, a 1-2... Oh, D-Matrix Fire Bat. That's going to kill the Lurker.
Yeah, that's going to wreck that Lurker. No problem. 3rd base going to end up falling here for herO. This might be game. Well, there's a counterattack coming in from herO as well. Like, he is trying so hard to keep everything alive. The Deep Matrix Fire Bats really doing their job. A nice move here on top of the ramp. Oh my god, insane volleys here from the lurkers. But there are some fire bats still. Irradiate goes down. So this will get cleared out as well.
And, you know, I got to say, it's kind of crazy how herO has basically lasted this entire game on 2 bases. Yeah. We're almost to 20 minutes, guys. Like, this goes to show you just how strong of a player herO is. But ultimately, Rush does exactly what he needed to do. He overcame the problem with, you know, mid-game and late game. He just kept fighting. He kept working towards it. And here we are.
What a great game from Rush. He finally wins a macro game, right? There was a lot of play on both sides, and Rush just kind of came out on top. So I think that should be a boost to his ego, to his confidence. And now we go into Game 7. It's really anyone's series now.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe the round of 4 is this good.
Yeah,
it's like we actually just got 2 epic ASL finals to then lead to the finals. Like, this is so crazy. Like, the play has been phenomenal here. And by the way, it's so exciting to see Rush overcome that. I mean, what a story inside the best of 7 itself. And so it's all going to come down to one more game, man.
And I really don't know how this one's going to go. Sylphid is going to be our final map. We will see that after a quick commercial break.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to figure out who's going on to the finals. This has been an insane series. I don't think we have ever had a round of 4 this epic before in an ASL. Am I wrong about that, Tastosis?
No, you're certainly right about that. This is really the closest round of 4 that we've ever had. Both matches going to game number 7, really back and forth. And now that we're in game 7 here, we've had a variety of games. Rush has won a macro game. A lot of his games were just 1 attack, 1 kill. But to win that macro game, I think, is a big deal here, confidence-wise. Now we're going to go into Sylphid. Sylphid is a smaller map. It does have ramped expansions, so Zerg can kind of turtle those up. But I really don't know what we'll see here because it is a bit smaller and, of course, very, very flat except for 3 high ground expansions.
Yeah, this is an excellent map. I think it's the best modern map for StarCraft Brood War in the last couple years here. And so it's a great way to end the series up. And I guess we're ready to go into this, guys. Who is going to move on? We find out right now in this game. Rush versus herO. Let's settle this.
In the left-hand side, we have Rush. Up at the top, we have herO. Okay, so as far as spawns go, this is pretty good for Rush, I would say. I personally think that this is the best spawn against Zerg. The natural can be a little bit hard, and the choke where you're walking out can be a little bit hard, both of those against Meterless Micro. But at least he didn't get 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock is a very hard map for the Terran side of TVZ because you can't really cover everything with missile turrets. So I think that at least the fact that he spawned here opens up some possibilities. If you spawn at 12, it's like, well, you should probably go Goliaths or Valkyrie no matter what because Bio just won't stop mutas. But here, yeah, he has a big range of things that he could do.
So in this game, looks like we're going to have... Is this Barracks? No, it's Depot, right? Yeah, Depot up here. Thought, no way would he actually do like a rush again, like after the way these games have gone here. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I have no idea who's going to take this. I think Rush played some of the best early mid-game I've ever seen in TVZ in that last game. But almost my takeaway from it was like, herO is so crazy good to be on 2 bases for like nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And still make it look even.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like almost holding. He was almost making it a really long game, and Rush just barely broke everything with really high-quality aggressive moves. Like when he went up the ramp at one of those third bases where the lurkers were, and he He lost a fair amount of Marines, but he got up there and he just made sure everything was dead as quickly as possible. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, he is really on top of it, because moves like that, when you're on elimination point, if you just lose all those Marines running up into the lurkers, you're like, oh, God, I'm throwing this. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very impressive killing moves, but I do agree with you. It does feel to me like herO is maybe playing just a little bit better than Rush today.
Yeah, he seems to be overall in the games a little bit stronger. But again, that's kind of what happens when, you know, your early attacks backfire, right? I mean, there's a funny thing about StarCraft where you can do these early attacks, and if it works, you look like a genius, and if it fails, you look like a moron, you know? Because you just get completely shut down so quickly. But, I mean, you know, it's really inspiring to see Rush recover nicely in that last game, because I was a little bit worried he was just going to have some other desperate move that was going to backfire and herO was going to move ahead here.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that it is going to be more of a standard game. We'll see if it looks like he is going to do an Academy Rush here once again, which makes sense. He's very good with that opener. As far as herO goes, it is a 2-hatch opener, which is not a big surprise. Like, 2-hatch is very, very good on this map. But what I'm looking for from herO is, will he try to make his 3rd hatch at, like, 3 o'clock? Or is he just going to make it in his main base?
Yeah, let's find out here. I do feel like, you know, there are some places you can definitely take a 3rd base that are pretty good. But usually it would be either the other main or one of these high ground areas. Zergs don't like expanding on flat open areas. They want to have places where they can have just a handful of lurkers hold off, you know, several control groups of medic marine. Because otherwise you just end up having to burn through your drones making sunken colonies.
Exactly. That just costs too much money. Which is part of why Academy Rush exists, because you're trying to force them to make sunken colonies. So, one thing real quick, he did get speed. He did get a speed upgrade, and he does have his 3rd hatch in his main base. So, for herO, this is, you know, there's a lot of options here. Like, he could make a decent amount of speedlings if he wants, and that would be, like, if he starts pumping a lot of speedlings, he's going to try to surround the Marine Medic Army when it leaves Rush's base, but I doubt that he'll do that, because it's, like, you have to kill off the army with it if you do that. I think it's much safer for him to just kind of drone up and play a standard macro game.
Yeah, and, you know, the question, I guess, really is, can Rush kind of do what he did in that last game? You know, it's not that often we see pro Zergs die like that, where they can't get a 3rd base. That's actually pretty rare. Because, to be honest with you, if you're going to get to playing an ASL, but frankly, just getting like S rank, you are a master of getting your 3rd base up every game.
Very true.
You know, that's like the whole matchup for the Zerg is like, I mean, yeah, you're getting mutas and you're, you know, trying to stop bunker rushes, but you're really trying to get a 3rd base up, you know, because the Zerg isn't where they need to be until that's up there. So it's kind of mind-blowing to see that happen here.
Yeah, it's honestly really very, very rare. It's been like 3-4 years before we've really seen, since we've seen pro games like that, where it's about denying the 3rd. Normally nowadays it's about denying the 4th base. So
sure, yeah,
expertly done, no doubt. Now the little Academy Rush is coming out. This isn't going to do much. It just forced 2 sunkens, as we saw at the natural. This is the most normal thing that it does do.
Right,
is just forces a couple sunkens, gives you a little bit of map control, but that's about it. And now with the mutas on the way, Rush has to consider going home pretty quickly here.
All right, so we've got 4 barracks coming down here. Now, he's going to go for 5 racks. Is that correct?
I think it'll be 4.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can technically go 5, but it's a little bit hard against the 2-hatch play because the mutas come very quickly. So we'll see. Like, he might, though. You know, he has really preferred these marine-heavy openers where he can really try to apply pressure. And it's not a bad choice against what he's against, right? Like, he's going to have a lot of units, and there is the 3rd hatch from herO, so they're kind of both in this unit production phase. But herO going to go ahead, take that 3rd base over at 3 o'clock, and now it's time for him to keep Rush busy with these mutas while he secures that location.
These Marines are going to be coming forward here now. The mutas are way far back here, and so he might... This may be a moment where Terran would be tempted to try to counterattack, but he's not budging. He's just going to stay over here. Not too fearful of the mutas, but also not too eager to try to come in there and jump on top of herO at his 2nd.
Yeah, notice he's just kind of standing still. When the mutas disappear from his base, he knows they're coming towards the bio. So you kind of stand still. You don't want to be in lines or anything. You want to be in a clump. That way you get more shots off against the mutas.
Yeah, and ideally, if you can run into the mutas as they're coming at you, you can snipe one. By the way, this is a move where you never attack-click on the ground. You attack-click on a mutalisk, because what makes mutas so dangerous when they're clumped up is, you know, the AI will just randomly select one unit to hit. So sometimes each Marine's hitting a different muta, and so none of them die. So what you want to do is attack-click on one, because if you do get enough concentrated damage there, one muta falls out.
That is exactly correct, and you know, that's certainly something he's going to be trying here. He has a lot of Marines and medics. The muta's going for a little bit of a counterattack, but the third hatchery just finished Tastosis, so this is the most dangerous time. He can't cancel the third hatchery, but he needs to defend it.
And herO comes in again and just hammers down these turrets. Kind of a funny moment, switching his fire onto the other turret. He's going to get this last one. He has not started these sunken colonies yet.
Okay, that is a lot of bio approaching his natural right now, Tastosis. I am definitely a bit nervous for him. If he had 5 sunks, this would be fine, but he doesn't. Rush stims forward. The sunkens do end up finishing. I think herO has just enough.
Yeah, well, hold on a second. He's going to gun down those sunks.
Oh, my God.
And
yeah,
I guess
enough.
You're right. He just barely has enough. These mutas, though, you know, herO was committed to trying to micro that attack in the hopes to winning that game, but now these mutas have free reign to take down these SCVs over here that are mining. There are more reinforcements coming up with that army, and I don't know if herO's remade sunken colonies yet, but he needs to.
Well, right now, the mutas are dominating inside the base. He's turned around. He didn't actually find that third base location yet, which is completely naked. There's just nothing there. This game has really turned into 2-base versus 2-base at the moment. The mutas staying, picking off some more Marines. They're just trying to get maximum damage right now.
I mean, this is starting to look pretty bad for Rush here, because, you know, Rush has almost breached that second base, but herO has actually come in and killed off a lot of SCVs, a lot of Marines. I don't see that many SCVs mining, to be honest.
Yeah, his economy is really, really badly hurt. And their supplies are actually even now, which is never good for Terran in this situation. But, you know, he's got a lot of Marine medic. Like, his army size, his standing army size is very, very strong. So he still has some potential. I think he needs to stay active on the map. And, you know, whether that's trying to break him again or that's trying to hit that third base, he has to make sure that, you know, herO is either being punished or making that static D.
He's just chipping away at these SCVs, and I'm getting worried here. I mean, look, we've seen Terrans recover from games like this, but the problem is we've kind of seen that herO, if able to develop and bring the game to where he needs it to be, he pretty much never loses.
He is starting that development at least. More Lings and mutas out on the map, picking off some of these turrets. Very little mining going on at the natural. Now, Rush does have an armory, so he can make a Valkyrie here to help out. But Valkyries are actually pretty expensive. It's 250 minerals, 125 gas. So his economy is not really that strong. Plenty of gas, sure. But he's lost a lot of SCVs, a lot of turrets, a lot of Marines. And all this stuff costs money.
Yeah, and man, you can really see what mutas can do over this high ground area. You know?
Yeah, it's a hard natural to defend, honestly. Like, even if you have a lot of turrets in there, it butts right up into an area where nothing can really walk. So you see the Marines standing here trying their best to help. It's just really hard for them to do anything.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of a congested area. It's hard to get stuff up there. Remember that, you know, in StarCraft 1, it's different for vision in StarCraft 2. StarCraft 1, if you fire from high ground, it'll reveal the unit for a second. Whereas StarCraft 2, it doesn't. But that just means that you have to get to attack back after they've attacked you first, which is just not a good exchange.
It makes it a little bit rough. The mutas just get so much value. Now, look at this. Sunken's going down just in time here for Rush. Valkyries are out. 2 Valks. Like, this is enough to push with. Ooh, excellent volleys there. Okay, this is danger mode. Like, I think you actually need more Sunkens as herO. I think I'd put a 4th at the third base, and you have to have like 5 or 6 at the natural, I think, at this point. Yeah, there's the 4th. Let's see how many he has at the natural. 6. Bam! He's doing it perfect, Tasteless.
I feel like herO's almost there, Artosis, but Rush has mustered a pretty impressive army here. I mean, let's see what he can do with this. the Hive was started. We're a little ways away from Dark Swarm. Obviously, the landscape of the game changes entirely once Dark Swarm is out. So there's just opportunity right now with the Valkyries, with the tanks and the medics and Marines to come out here and maybe get that one kill move off before Zerg gets into proper late game.
I think there's a very good chance he can kill him with the tank push.
Yep.
Very good chance. Those 6 Sunkens are all clumped up. The splash damage of the 2 siege tanks are going to remove them very, very quickly. There's not that many lurkers. Like, nothing out here to slow him down. He's going directly to the natural, and with 3 Valkyries, the mutas won't help much. I don't think he can get consumed before he loses his natural.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't
Greater
see
Spire,
it,
right?
Tasteless.
No
Oh my
Greater
God,
Spire,
no.
right?
No
Okay, so
Greater
no
Spire.
Guardians, no way to buy time with that. 2 tanks is the number.
Yeah, I don't think Guardians would even do anything with 3 Valkyries out.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Dude, Rush is doing it right now.
All that we're waiting for is Zerg to get Dark Swarm. When Dark Swarm Cloud comes down, this push is denied. Oh, and he's just, oh my God, he's going to try to target down the tanks, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
Yeah, but the mutas are so badly hurt now, they can't really fight. Oh my God, Rush is doing it. Only 1 lurker stems forward, and it looks to me, Tasteless, like Rush is going to go to his 2nd ASL Finals.
This is insane. Rush is doing it. There's no Defilers out. There's no Lurkers. There's no Dark Swarm. The natural falls. The Marines are going to spill into the main, and he has overcome all odds here.
Amazingly done here from Rush. I thought herO had an advantage, but this follow-up with the Valkyries and the Siege tanks doing so much for our Terran player. Look at this, going after just everything that's left over. A couple Lurkers coming up, trying to help, but it is not going to be enough. Too little, too late. And Rush is going to overcome after a rough start, a rough middle part of the series. herO is not enough. GG!
Wow.
And Rush is back to the ASL Finals.
What a comeback, man. I really enjoyed that. Rush played an amazing game here. People are going nuts in the audience. Look at this. And he's going to fight Royal now. TVT Finals, ZVZ, 3rd place, 4th place match as well.
Wow. Yeah. So that was like really amazing to see. I got to tell you, that was a great finish to it as well. A very dynamic game number 7. I think herO did play like really well here today. I'm just still so impressed with him. And I think he will win in ASL eventually. Not this season, unfortunately. But I tell you what, he gets top 4 like every single season just about. So showing that unbelievable skill over and over. But today, Rush goes forward.
I don't know who to root for here. You know? It's so
Between
cool
Rush
to see
and
these.
Royal?
Yeah, I mean, these guys have both had great stories. And, you know, we've had a lot of ASLs that are really, you know, these old players coming back. But, you know, to see these new names, these new faces, and new is in, you know, StarCraft history. So, you know, we're not talking about OSL or MSL champs kind of coming out and changing the game and delivering. That's really exciting.
It really is. These 2 rising Terrans showing so much skill right now. It's awesome that we now have so many Terrans that are of this level, right? When Flash went away, it was kind of like Light still had a losing record in ASL, so it's like, oh God, like what's going to happen to Terran? And a few seasons later, Light's like, look at me, I'm the best. And now Rush is like 2 out of 3 seasons, I'm in the finals. And even Royal joining there as well. Maybe a golden age of Terran coming up, Tasteless.
Hell yeah, dude. Terran's looking pretty strong nowadays, man. Double Terran finals here. Valkyrie play here. I mean, this was beautifully done. I think that, you know, it was a smart move as well to go for the natural, not to go for the 3rd base here. This kind of spelled disaster. That one moment that he tried to target the tank and it didn't work. He only had 1 lurker here. You know, had he had 3 or 4, maybe he could have bought more time, but 1 lurker just is never the right number of lurkers. And this was it. And, you know, this was after herO had beat up Rush so badly. But yeah, you break this open. I mean, this is everything Zerg has. This is, you know, the Hive, all of the tech, and, you know, obviously drones mining there. It just wasn't anything to do. We even had a dropship that came in here from the side in case there was some kind of lurker to block that, but there wasn't.
Yeah, you know, again, herO like almost had the defense there. It just wasn't quite enough. And when the bio gets in your face like this, it really is over. But a great move, right, to do the tank Valkyrie push. Like, the lurkers were a little bit late. herO maybe relying a little bit too heavily on those mutas, and unfortunately he has to pay for it.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to go to an interview now with Rush and see how he's feeling. And yeah, let's do that now.
결승 가기 정말 힘들죠. 드디어 가게 됐습니다. 어떠세요?
뭔가 오늘 너무 게임이 안 풀려가지고 좀 걱정을 많이 했는데 6, 7경기를 좀 진짜 멘탈 다 잡으면서 마인드 컨트롤하면서 진짜 침착하게 하려고 노력했던 것 같아요.
예, 특히 이번 그 마지막 경기에서 중간에 멘탈이 깨질 만한 상황도 분명 있었다라고 보는데
네.
와, 어떻게 버텼습니까?
일단 상대가 앞마당 쪽을 털다가 본진을 터는 걸 몰랐어요. 저도 들어가다가. 그래가지고 좀 제가 피해를 많이 봤다고 생각했는데 좀 이제 침착하고 사이즈를 좀 보니까 발키리 탱크 타임이 무조건 한 방 있을 것 같다 생각해가지고 좀 가난하게 타이트하게 모아서 좀 한 방 있었던 것 같아요.
진짜 이렇게 다전제에서 유영진 선수가 상대를 꺾어내는 모습을 보여주는 많은 팬들의 응원을 받으면서 이번 결승 무대까지 올라가게 되었습니다.
네.
결승전의 상대가 최근에 핫한 김지성 선수가 기다리고 있어요. 테란 대 테란전입니다. 유영진 선수 입장에서는 정말 까다로울 때 이재호 선수 마저 격파하고 여기까지 오게 됐잖아요.
네.
이번 시즌 뭔가 보입니까?
이번 시즌 우승 못하면 평생 못할 것 같아요.
우와! 그러면은 우승하기 가장 좋은 시즌인가요?
네, 지금이 가장 적기인 것 같습니다.
이야, 자, 굉장히 멋집니다. 자, 이렇게 힘든 경기 이겨내면서 또 한 경기 한 경기 따내고 올라오고 하는데 또 힘이 돼준 이 원동력이 돼준 분들이 좀 많이 계실 것 같은데요. 감사 인사
네.
부탁드리겠습니다.
일단 야무미가 좀 직관을 많이 오고 싶어 했는데 못 왔어요. 그래서 집에서 응원하고 있는데 결승에는 꼭 어떻게든 왔으면 좋겠고 너무 고맙고, 그리고 파스포드에서 응원을 굉장히 많이 와주셨어요. 학생 교수분들 네, 많이 와주셔가지고 너무 든든했고 힘이 됐고, 그리고 감스트 이사장님이 또 많이 응원해주고 계시는 게 좀 좋아가지고 너무 감사드리고, 재욱이 형도 오늘 응원해주시더라고. 꼭 이기라고. 너무 감사하고, 그리고 김유다 부총장님도 저를 너무 응원하는 게 보여가지고 감사하고요. 그리고 이제 연습을 도와준 멤버가 5명 있는데 이재동 형님이랑 그리고 짭재동, 이영환, 그리고 명훈이 형, 예훈이, 이렇게 너무 감사하다고 전하고 싶네요.
네. 그리고 이제 수많은 팬분들이 오늘도 이제 유영진 선수에게 힘이 돼주기 위해서 또 찾아주셨거든요. 팬분들에게도 감사 말씀.
일단 이게 코로나 풀리고 나서 좀 관객분들이 많잖아요. 그래가지고 게임 할 때마다 너무너무 즐겁거든요. 예전에 코로나 하기 전에는 제가 이렇게 높은 데까지 가보지 못하고 맨날 떨어져가지고 지기만 했어가지고 몰랐는데, 이길 때 팬분들이 엄청 좋아해 주시는 게 너무 큰 힘이 되고 너무 재밌는 것 같아요. 그래서 다시 한번 너무 감사드리고 결승에서 더 큰 무대에서 더 잘할 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네. 이제 결승전 경기만이 남아있는 상황입니다. 지난 결승에서 아쉽게 패배하며 준우승 차지했는데요. 이번 시즌 팬분들에게 좀 어떤 모습 보일지 각오 한 말씀 끝으로 부탁드리겠습니다.
일단 4강을 준비하면서 오늘 좀 제가 느끼기엔 부족했거든요. 경기력이. 그 경기력이 부족한 게 그대로 대회에서 나온 것 같아서 결승 때는 진짜 판수 더 끌어올려가지고 무조건 우승하도록 하겠습니다.
네, 다시 한번 축하드리고요. 멋진 경기 기대하겠습니다. 축하드려요.
감사합니다.
네, 자, 이렇게 유영진 선수의 인터뷰를.
Man, what a story. What a great finals. Honestly, this is just not the finals I was expecting, Tastosis.
No, I really wasn't as well. If there was going to be a Terran in the finals, I would have guessed 1 and I would have guessed Light, but he fell out a bit earlier, and here we are with Royal and Rush, the second and third best Terrans in the world, going at it. And I mean, one of these guys is going to be the champion. We're going to have a completely new Terran champion in ASL.
Yeah. Quite the back and forth too, as you can see here. We, ultimately it was settled on Sylphid and kind of the classic Terran versus Zerg battle to kill the Zerg before Dark Swarm is done, and he did that literally within the time frame of a minute. One Dark Swarm cloud comes down, and we're still casting that game right now, guys.
For sure. It's a crazy world, right? Like these are how sharp some of these timings can be, but. These were risks taken by both sides that ended up paying off or not paying off, right? Like you're going to heavily go into Mutalisks. Well, sometimes Valkyries are going to come out and screw you up a little bit, and guess what? Your Lurkers are a bit later. So, really great control that game from both sides. But Rush going to that finals. I don't know who's going to take this down, Tasteless.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think anybody who thinks they know who's going to take this is wrong, man.
It's a difficult one to guess.
And, you know, it's kind of crazy. I don't think any, you know, I'm sure there's people out there that like to predict brackets and try to, you know, see, you know, if they can guess who's going to navigate this. I don't think anybody would have gotten this. Like in the whole world.
Yeah.
There's a Rush Royal Finals. This is just such an unusual pair to have here. And, you know, Rush has already played insanely well before. Royal is improving. It feels like faster than anybody I've ever seen in the last couple years.
For sure on that.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the top Terran players in the scene right now are saying that Royal is actually stronger than Rush right now. Not just in TVZ, but just in general. His macro has hit another level in the last few months. Like, he is actually out-macroing basically everybody in, like, Terran versus Protoss specifically. So that might carry over into this TVT. Like, the fact that he is able to macro like that with his variety of strategies, that could be a tough one for Rush to overcome.
It does seem like Royal has a little bit more of an advanced take on Terran, just in the games that we've seen of him so far. Like, he's really kind of... Like, Rush is very good at doing what all the other Terrans have been doing, but Royal does seem to be a little bit more creative.
Yes.
But, you know, it'll depend on how the games go and what the map lineup's going to be, but it should be an interesting one. I'm especially curious how the games are going to go on Neo Arkanoid, by the way.
Oh, that's going to be the weirdest ever. You're
Yeah.
right. Oh, my God. Yeah, that should just end up being Tank Goliath dropship, I would guess. Right?
Yeah, I think
like
so,
that,
yeah.
That's the only thing I can think that it should look like. Like, really, it should be Command Center first on both sides. Maybe even 2 Command Centers really quickly. And then, and then just mass mech.
And it's going to be the Sangam Coliseum. That's a gorgeous venue, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I always feel like Africa TV does a great job with the production of these finals. You know, it's epic. It's like you're at a, you know, a concert or, you know, or an esports event, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
You know, it's well, they put a lot of love into it.
Yeah. That is going to be a fantastic finals, and don't forget as well, guys, we are going to have that 3rd place match. And yeah, I can't wait to see if does herO get 3rd here? Does Sulky get 3rd here? I'm imagining herO's going to take it, but who knows?
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will be doing the 3rd place, 4th place match, as well as the finals, and we'll get that out to you ASAP. We love you guys. Thank everybody who's supported us on Patreon. And Tastosis, any closing thoughts?
No, thank you very much, guys. It's been wonderful. This is a great round of 4, and I hope the finals can live up to it.